Yahoo! Yippee dippy skippy hippie! Oh yeah. We're here. We're doing it. I just punched a cop. I just punched a cop. I just punched a cop. I'm gonna go to prison. Well, I'll see you there, I guess. What is that he's riding? I don't know. I always just assumed that some sort of rogue butt plug flying its way through a cloud of fart. Been listening to me for 5 years. Thank you, Mushy. Appreciate you. That's a long time. It flew by, didn't it? Hey, Jacob's here? Where's Jacob at? I don't see him. Did you just subconsciously mimic my voice to read out a message? I don't think so. They'd be making noises sometimes. Letry, have you ever told your own personal story on the channel? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. About the time I punched a cop and I went to jail. Unfortunately, I have to head to bed for work. I just wanted to stop by and say hello. Always so sad when I miss your lives. Yeah, but think about how much sadness could be mitigated if you just quit your job right now and stayed for the stream. Come on. JK. Well, you know what? Who cares, right? Hola, hola. I don't know. What are you guys' goals? Are you going to stay at your job forever? Like, honest question. Yo, Joel, you get an alpha code for Marathon? You know, there's a lot of, like, gaming trends that pop up pretty frequently. More recently, it's like battle royales, which then led to this like sort of modern extraction shooter kind of vibe. And I'll be honest with you, like Marathon does not look that exciting to me at all. I think like going all the way back like years whenever like Tarkov was in early access, which I will say I spent $60 to get like super early access on that, and then somehow like never got an early access code to it, which to my email, which was pretty lame. And then I ended up just like never playing the game, I don't think. I have some friends that play it though. I'm working on gaining my hours to become a pilot. Oh, that's sick. You're so easily manipulated. I'm just kidding. Don't quit. But take this time before bed to think about what the next step is, so you can listen to the streams 24/7. I tried to retire when I was 19. It was a fun summer of camping. Yeah, honestly, that's what people do when they walk. They're like, I'm gonna go hike the Appalachian Trail for 6 months, and they're like, oh, so you mean you're gonna be homeless, jobless and homeless for 6 months? Congratulations. Let's hope you don't find any pills on the trail like Hanzo and Gretel. Hanzo and Gretel found a bunch of fentanyl pills leading to a crack house with a scary witch in it. Stressful times at work right now. Thanks for tuning me into Deb Never This Alive. It's a good song, man. I have that shit on repeat pretty frequently. I'm mostly annoyed that out of all my friends that applied for it, I'm the only one who got a code. Playing the game with randos isn't appealing. Yeah, what is it? What do? You just, I don't know. I watched for like 30 seconds of like Shroud playing it with his buddies, and he was just shooting like stupid NPCs that just turned into like code, and the graphics look like Legos. I mean, I'm not, honestly, I don't mind. Hey, Snow, what's up? I really don't mind like shitty graphics in a game if it's just actually fun. But I don't know. What conspiracy theory are you gonna ask ChatGPT tonight? The one about how Elon Musk has gained access to everyone's medical records and how he forwarded that to healthcare companies that are giving it to an AI system called Palantir to automatically deny you healthcare coverage utilizing said AI. Pretty sick, huh? Welcome to the future. Welcome to the weird dystopia that we live in. Where every issue is going to become so contentious that one side doesn't even know why they're angry at the particular thing external from the fact that it's not part of their tribe, and the other one is too busy worshiping them, that side, tribalistically, and won't be able to ever come to an agreement or analyze something objectively. It's pretty sick. It's what I do if I was... That's true, too. Honestly, when you get to that level of power, you know, you gotta rub a few... off, you know what I mean? Anyways, what are you guys up to? Playing any... You guys eating any pizza? You ordering any diet soda? You buy some Superman action figures and NFTs. Please say hi to my roommate Brittany on our way home. What's up, Brittany? Honk the horn in the car really loud. Oh, the new... Yeah, I did download the Oblivion remake. And I'm pretty excited to get some time just to sit down and play that, honestly. Because it looks good. And there was I don't know what's that one that came out recently that was like sort of not as good as Skyrim from 10 plus years ago? Was it Enshrouded or something of that nature? Avowed. Yeah, I think it was Avowed. And I remember I saw Avowed come out and I was like, oh man, all I've really wanted is just another Skyrim clone for like a while just to like turn my brain off. And then I like saw gameplay and it looked like dog shit. So I was like, seeing Oblivion remastered come out of nowhere, and it's, you know, I think it's basically the game just made in Unreal 5, and that's all I wanted. That's all I really wanted, was just take old games and just make them again, and that is totally fine with me. What's up, Owen? No one believes that you're a female Khajiit in Skyrim. Why don't they believe you? My cat just jumped into a potted vegetable oil, so I had to give her a bath and mop the floor. She jumped into it. She's like, this looks comfy. Is Skyrim or Oblivion better? I don't really know, but honestly, the fact that Oblivion's now made on Unreal 5, there's a chance that I'll actually play through it completely. What's up, Iris? Oh, I still have ant problems. I don't. No, I took your guys' advice putting the food, like putting a plate under the food and filling that plate with a little bit of water to create a moat around the cat food bowl. And that worked wonders, because anytime they try to get there, they just immediately drown and die. And then I dumped cinnamon along the ant trail, and it seemed to have confused the ants to the extent that they just don't show up anymore, so I don't know. I'm going on vacation kind of tomorrow, so I'm excited, but my back hurts so bad. Love you, man. I might fall asleep before you even get started. Your back hurts? Oh, shit. And if you're going on vacation, you're probably traveling, which means you'll be sitting a lot, which means your back will be even more tighter. Maybe you can get like a foam roller and kind of sit on those tight spots till they go away. She was trying to attack a bug near the ceiling and jumped off the fridge into the oil. Dude, cats are insane, man. But they're so funny. It doesn't matter like what culture anywhere in the world, it seems like everybody just appreciates a nice kitty cat. I don't know how they did it. They keep all the game logic run by the old Gamebryo engine, but Unreal is handling all the graphics rendering. Interesting. That is fascinating, man. Well, I'm excited to get into it. Also, Joy, I have a kitty now. Oh, nice. What's its name? What does it look like? Pradeep looks so cute in the picture you posted earlier. Yeah, I don't know why he just looks so funny. Like he was, because I was like aerating my house, and like he just, you know, he's never seen that one door open in the kitchen, and it's just so funny seeing him sit there because his legs just look like so chonky for some reason. He looked like he had like a full-on dad bod. So I'm insane but funny. What do you mean? You guys are all insane and funny. Honestly, insane people are the only funny ones. Ants suck. What I did is put a strong tape sticky side up with a mix of cayenne and crushed eggshell. Wait, where'd you put that at? Next to the animal food? How often do I go live? I usually go live every Sunday and Wednesday, which is the night before new videos. So I'll be recording tonight's stories, which is like landlord, tenant related stories. Oh, I said cats are insane. Oh, that's true, yeah, and you are too. Dad bods rule. Mom bods rule too. There's a new super mod pack for Skyrim that makes the game brand spanking new, and it limits you as to how many job titles you can have the way Oblivion does. It's beautiful. Makes it look brand spanking new. How come? Wait, this voice isn't a computer? No, sir. It's real. Hyper Light Breaker is so good. Oh, really? Okay, I was curious. I mean, I really loved Hyper Light Drifter, but just because it was more of a single player experience. Is that what Hyper Light Breaker is like too? Kind of sucks that my voice sounds AI, to be honest with you. Just because, I don't know. Not just because it's easy to replicate, but the fact that it even gets thought of as such, you know. But I mean, it is what it is. Who cares? How long does it take you to edit the videos? Oh, hey Jeremy, what's up, bro? It's not that long, to be honest with you. Like, so this stream might go for fucking like a total of like 3.5 hours. And then after that, whenever I edit tomorrow, it might take me just like in total to get everything done, if I'm not farting around, you know, like 2 more hours. So overall, everything is like not, but I'm kind of have like a workflow where I have like a microphone that where I start and stop, it creates a file, and then there's a bunch of files, I upload that in, and then I just like chop and screw them together like really fast. So the workflow is pretty quick. Yeah, Jeremy, what do you, not to bug you or anything like that, but thanks for being here. And what are you working on lately? Your voice doesn't sound like AI. I think it's the fact that you aren't talking naturally and you're talking clearly and stuff. Oh yeah, maybe. Perhaps. ARs are bad at making voices. They aren't. Yeah, it definitely is. We're not quite there yet with that, but write books and television. That's amazing. Anything we might know? All right, dudes. Feel free to keep yapping. Bavarian and narrative sorrowing into YouTube, and I think you're one of the best. Jeremy, thank you, man. That means a lot, honestly. That means a lot, seriously. That's crazy. Crazy. If you ever need a narrator for anything, let me know. All right, let me bring up my orange screen so I don't blind my eyeballs. Who would have, though? I would grow up to see people being accused of being AI rather than actually seeing robots and stuff. I know. I did see somewhere, was it Saudi Arabia or something like that had like actual robots walking around with 3D vision or something insane where it can like ID people via face scan. Oh, it was China. It was China. You should do more cryptid stories. I love spooky humanoid type stuffs. Yes, those are the best, honestly. I love paranormal shit. All right, friends. Anyways, yeah, landlord stuff. Would love to hear more about you. Sam says good things about you. Yeah, Sam helps me with all the bonus content and a lot of the true crime stuff. So he is the man with the plan. Yeah, but you know what I mean? I've been doing YouTube narration, primarily horror narration, since I guess 2014, which is cray as far as you know, that's crazy. Over a decade of just narrating stuff, and you know, it's primarily like story narration. I mean, I go into the voice acting as well from time to time. I am a vet, yeah. A veterinarian. I have my new album ready to release in June. More jazz. Odette, The Forgotten, sequel to Goodnight Gregory, which you played here before. Oh, 6. No, yeah. You said it's ready in June, or release in June. Okay, yeah, I'll have to hear it, or we can play it sometime in here and just... we can do a live review. Sam writing's really cool. Always has good things to say about the people. Yeah, he's a great man. Very, very talented. When did I start doing narrations? I just wanted to do YouTube, honestly. I didn't even know I could read stories. And it's just like was something on YouTube I thought nobody really did. And then I found the creepypasta narration community, and I was like, this seems popular. And I tried that, and it just worked out, you know what I mean? Sometimes the algorithm smiles upon thee. Joining the Magnesium Club, dude, you can't go wrong there, bro. I used to be a property manager in London back in the 80s. For one reason or another, the flats I managed weren't strictly legal, so it was basically my job to collect rent, arrange repairs, and be a buffer between the real owner and the council, should they ever find out he was flouting. What does flouting mean? It's a British word. Foreign to me. Am I saying that right? Flouting? Like dodging, assumedly. Flout. Motorists regularly flout the law. Oh, okay. Avoiding, dismissing, ignoring. Okay. Makes sense. I can only voice act in voices that are widely different to my own. Yeah, I think, that's the funny thing you bring that up, because I do find it easier, like when I do an accent or a specific voice, to like actually feel like I'm acting, whereas whenever I'm trying to just do my normal self, it's like I really have to get into it, otherwise it's just embarrassingly bad, So, flouting. Okay. For one reason or another, the flats I managed weren't strictly legal, so it was basically my job to collect rent, arrange repairs, and be a buffer between the real owner and the council, should they ever find out he was flouting regulations. It was a proper cash under the table sort of thing, and we didn't discriminate when it came to tenants. If you could give us the month's rent, which was about 60 quid back then we'd give you a bedroom in a shared house with communal kitchen and bathroom facilities. These days, a lot of landlords ask foreigners for proof of their right to be in the country, and I think you can get into trouble if you're found to be housing illegal immigrants. But back then, we weren't in the least bit interested in who you were or where you were from. All we wanted was money. And the same applied when I met a bloke called... A bloke. But yeah, anybody new to the stream, we're just recording stories. You do a pretty good Cobb and zombie impression. That's awesome. Joel be tapping on products with his nails, influencing us to buy weight loss tea. It's true. All the teas that I sell have a little bit of a worm in it. And that worm will take care of the eating for you. Honestly, if tapeworms weren't so difficult to get out of your stomach once you put in, I would be in complete agreement. Like if suddenly the worm could just sort of die, maybe after, say, a solid month or whatever, after you've lost essentially the equivalent of what you would lose using Ozempic or something like that, and just sort of digest into a semi-high fibrous diet that you can kind of shit out, I think that would be pretty cool. That'd be funny if that was my go-to product, was just like selling parasites. Don't worry, everybody. Whenever it's done eating all your food, you can shit it out. I voiced a new character for a psychological horror game that's coming out this summer. I play the crazy old woman who lives down the road from the protagonist. That's cool. What kind of game is it? Ever read Troop by Nick Cutter? No. Or The Troop? I have not. What's that about? And the same applied when I met a guy called Yuri. Yuri mentioned something about being from Latvia, but I never saw any papers to confirm that. His name could have been anything, and he could have been from anywhere. I met him outside this crumbling down house in Finsbury, one of the properties that I managed. Heavy emphasis on those quotation marks there, and the room that he was after was a mess. There was peeling wallpaper, damp patches everywhere, and a stink that was sort of half mold and half despair. It was the kind of place that you'd give a rat the hump, and Yuri didn't quite seem desperate enough to rent it. But after a brief look around, he told me he'd take it. I was surprised, honestly, but I wasn't about to argue with the man. I just took his money, gave him his keys, and that was that. Next month, when I went around to collect the rent, Yuri wasn't in. He cleaned the place up quite nicely, gotten rid of all the mold and the peeling wallpaper, and he'd left a little note on his bed that just said, "Busy at work, money in pillowcase." We dealt with some quite unsavory characters on a regular basis, and I'd had someone try and run a scam like that on me before. If you play with feathers, you'd... What? It's just in parentheses. If you play with feathers, you get your arse tickled. Hell yeah, dude. Get that tattooed on my arse. It's just like a quill feather, like writing it out. If you play with feathers, you get your arse tickled. Professor Cheryl, welcome to the Buttersock Cult. You now have access to bonus content. Thank you, thank you. Can I sing some of this? We dealt with some quite unsavory characters on a regular basis. I don't know how to sing, honestly. It's still in the back of my mind, though, just to expand my voice horizons. I do have a deep desire to take singing lessons at some point, maybe even play the old piano. Okay. You need a whoopie pie. Now that's Pennsylvania right there, baby. We dealt with some quite unsavory characters on a regular basis, and I'd had someone try and run a scam like that on me before. As they say, if you play with feathers, you get your arse tickled. And when there weren't many... I've got dyslexia. Bear with me. When their rent money wasn't in the pillowcase, they said someone must have gone into their room before I did and pinched the cash. And since it wasn't their fault, they didn't think that they should have to pay twice the rent money, and that caused an awful lot of trouble for that character, let me tell you. I was thinking, good God, another one. I was thinking, good God, not another one of these. But then, when I put my hand in the pillowcase, Bob's your uncle. There was the money. It was like that every month, too, but it suited me down to the ground. I never had to chase him down or go looking for him. He was reliable as anyone was He was reliable as anyone was. Old Yuri. I feel like there gotta be like a comma in there or some shit. Old Yuri. Urethra. Old urethra. I could sing some Tom Jones. I'm looking it up right now. I'm gonna see if I can do it. New York. Probably not him, huh? Thomas Jones. Oh, it's not unusual to be loved by anyone. It's not unusual. That's why I kind of like that vibe. I feel like they had a lot of that vibe in like 80s songs from the past, you know. So like whenever I do karaoke, sometimes I'll sing songs from the 80s just because, or even like the Killers, because sometimes he kind of has that like deep baritone drag out, you know what I mean? And it feels a lot more natural instead of having to hit some like high note. It was like that in my time, but okay. I never had to chase him or go looking for him. He was reliable as anyone was, old Yuri. But then came the month when, well, you'll see what I mean in a moment, won't you? It was a grim Tuesday lunchtime, all gray and dreary out when I drove over to the house in Finsbury to collect the rent. The place was completely quiet, with most out grafting, with most people out grafting and some, okay. Brooklyn Gonzalez, welcome back for 47 months. Holy shit, that's a long ass time. Almost 4 years. Thank you so much, Brooklyn. The only song I can sing is Sweet Dreams. Sweet Dreams. Is that the one? You could try to see if you could collab with Stupendous. He does, I think, mostly video game songs. Alright, I'll see what he's up to. The place was dead quiet, with most out grafting in some manner or another. Nothing but the hum of traffic outside and the occasional cough from Mr. Patel's ground floor flat. I'm just gonna say the guy downstairs. Sounds more natural. Jonah Isaac, welcome back for 6 months. Says Joel, that's a great idea. I think you definitely should take up singing. Singing will help you understand your voice and breathe better. I like that. I like, honestly, that's honestly probably all I needed to hear to probably do it. So, thank you, Jonah. I will keep you updated, and thank you for 6 months. You're hunting skinwalkers next month? Are you going to Skinwalker Ranch? Hey, Lottie Lou, oi oi. Wait, really? You're going to Skinwalker Ranch? Holy crack. For Skinwalker Ranch. The place was dead quiet, with most out grafting in some manner or another. Nothing but the hum of traffic outside and the occasional cough from the guy down below's ground floor flat. So I knocked on Yuri's door, just out of habit really, and when there was no answer, as per usual, I just pushed it open. His room was just the same as ever. Bare except a single bed, a rickety old chair, and a wardrobe that was well on its last legs. I went for the pillowcase, expecting to find the cash in the usual place, but there was nothing. I patted it down and shook it a bit, but still nothing fell out. That wasn't like Yuri at all. He'd only been renting about 6 months, but he'd always paid on time and in the same fashion, good as gold. Then I opened the old wardrobe to see if his clothes were still there and saw they were all gone. It was completely gutted. I hardly ever found a reliable tenant like him, not in our game, so it always stung a bit whenever they decided to move someplace else. I was about to leave and I was right on my way out the door when I spotted something under the bed. It was a suitcase. Brown leather, and bashed up around the... Bashed up. A bit bashed up. Mashed potatoes around the corner edges. Hey, Maria. You've been waiting for my live all day long. I'm sorry. I had many burritos to go eat. I did work out for the first time in 2 weeks today. It was just like a 30-minute session of like every minute on, or every minute I would do like, it was like 4 to 8 pull-ups and then like 12 push-ups, and then it was like 20 lunges or whatever. So like, you know, just rotating between the minutes for 30 minutes, and I felt pretty good. I'm kind of trying to prime myself because I think I am going to get it. Yeah, I think I am going to get into the calisthenics thing next week instead of just lifting. Meow. So I felt, it felt pretty good. Felt like a decent pump or whatever. I just, it would be sick to get like gymnasts good at like doing pull-ups where you could actually do like muscle-ups and shit and look like those dudes who work out. And maybe I should just go to prison. I should figure out a way to go to prison so I can just get jacked that way. Because all they do really is work out and stab each other, And not just with shanks. I love you for real. You're literally my sleep therapy whenever I see a new video. I get hard. Thank you, dude. I'm glad you get some sleepies. Oh, that's true. The cop punching should get me right there. You should do an expert at crime. Yeah, I know. At this point, honestly, I probably could get away with many home invasion. I've seen them all play out. I know their weaknesses. They were far too passionate about it. I'll be a tactician. I'll be like that guy straight from Sicily from The Sopranos. Sus, you know a guy. What's up, Chris? What is good, dude? Do I know a Chris? Have I met a Chris before? It was a suitcase, brown leather and bashed up around the edges. I'm not one for poking my nose in where it doesn't belong, but something didn't feel right. All of Yuri's stuff was gone, and he hadn't left any rent money either. So what was the suitcase doing under his bed? I thought for a second, then said to myself, "Stuff it. I'll have a quick look and see if there's a note or something." I walked back in, shut the door, kneeled down next to the bed, and pulled out the suitcase. I flicked the latch, lifted the lid, and my heart stopped. There was Yuri, inside the suitcase, his body all twisted up and broken, like someone had to fold him up to fit him inside. His arms looked snapped and bent at odd angles, while his legs were tucked up under. Oh, damn. Rest in peace, Yuri. BB Jean, thank you for the 5 gifters to Snow, Miss Cookie, Sonia Gonzalez, Kenny Falk, Kenny Sayin, and Panda Niece. Yeah, hopefully Yuri's okay in there. He's just taking a nap. Is your avatar just the ghost spaceman from Scooby-Doo? No, but I do recall, like, seeing that in my... That piece of work is... I think it's from a Robert Heinlein, like, novel cover from, like, the 1970s, I do believe. Like a compilation of all of his work and stuff. Which was also featured, well, not that specific novel, but I saw Robert Heinlein featured on an episode of Black Mirror, the one I mentioned last time. That was kind of cool. He's getting popular. But yeah, I did see the ghost spaceman from Scooby-Doo, like, feature. I don't know, I just saw it, like, pop up whenever I was, like, looking through this kind of stuff. I was like, that's the same kind of vibe. Fahad, yeah. The anticipation is that the stories are real. I mean, I guess you kind of have to suspend your disbelief to an extent, but yeah, they're submitted by viewers just like yourself. Do I know Skivity Toilet? I haven't met him personally. That sounds like an Indian name. Have you seen Archangel on Black Mirror? I'm not sure if I remember that one. You can do 3 push-ups. That's it. You do 3, and then the next time you do 4, and then you do 5. And you just get good at it, you know what I mean? I mean, push-ups are literally all that. They're just repetition, until you're sick at it. Florence Hansen, thank you for the 65 what are those? Kroners? Swedish kroners? Hello from Sweden. 5 a.m. here right now. Just want to thank you for always delivering. You're welcome, Hansen. Thank you. Very kind. It's weird that Robert Heinlein isn't more known. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot of authors back before you were able to just hyper monetize. Well, not necessarily hyper monetize. I mean, there's going to be a lot of authors just in general that never get seen or heard or known or whatever. I mean, they just kind of do it for the love of the art, which is awesome. But even back then, some of the most popular ones, it's almost like H.P. Lovecraft in a way, where it's like, I wouldn't say that their work gets wildly popular posthumously or anything like that. But, there just wasn't as many ways to monetize people's works in the mass appeal sense of making a TV show or a movie or whatever. So, but I know, right? I mean, he wrote Starship Troopers, all that kind of stuff. It's clearly it created quite the influence, It's so strange to me too, is that I would honestly say science fiction writers, and really I guess just writers and philosophers in general, that they are probably some of the most important people in the world. The reason being is that it's not that any of their ideas ever manifest a reality in the moment that they write it, but in a very, very strange and weird way, the second that you write an idea down, you do kind of manifest it into reality. I mean, just for example, I'm sure there's certain political organizations that read science fiction, or maybe they read philosophy or something, and then they go on to do some pretty terrible things because they use what's in that book to sort of inspire their ideas of some abstract dystopian future, or organizing government in a way that ends up with hundreds of millions dead, that kind of thing. So it's really strange how powerful pen to paper really is. Imagine getting inspired by Darth Vader. I hope someone does. I hope they wake up every day since the time they're 4 years old and just never stop wearing his outfit. You puked from doing too many burpees in a fitness class once. Yeah, burpees are tough because you're kind of up and down and up and down. So it's this weird mixture of lightheadedness, but also smashing your diaphragm into the ground if you're not controlling the push-up on the way down. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little spit up that comes up on some acid reflux sitch. Joker is inspiring me, the Heath Ledger one. I mean, I know it's kind of a meme at this point, but I mean, it's that's the Joker guy is the definition of that 2016 era of the quote-unquote literally me meme, It's because that's how we as humans sort of interpret reality in many ways, is we read people's stories, or we listen to people's stories, and it generates an image in our mind of what we perceive the outside world to be like, and it can create a sense of trust or distrust in us. It can create a sense of fear or wonder. I mean, really, the ability to manipulate the mind through writing is truly, truly powerful. I just found out I'm getting an opportunity to travel to Thailand for a work conference. It'll be my first time outside the States, further from Puerto Rico. Me when my friends saying they're going to Thailand for the food and culture. Wink, wink. No, I'm just kidding. Have fun, though. That sounds fun. Be safe. Don't go broke. I can't do much with my back and hip. The way they are right now sucks. Yeah, dang. It's a shame Joker became sort of an icon of cringe because he's a genuinely absolutely fascinating character, one of the best villains of all literature, and I'll say that on the record. Yeah, the Joker rocks. I love Heath Ledger's character, and the Jaker. His arms looked snapped and bent at odd angles, while his legs were tucked under him backwards. His face was all gray and his eyes were wide open, staring out blankly. There was nothing else, just him, stuffed inside like he was something to be thrown away. I got up and stumbled back, hand clamped over my mouth to keep the smell out of my nose, but I still felt sick. The room started spinning, and the next thing, I'm out the door and taking the stairs 2 at a time. I pulled the front door open, ran out into the street before I stopped. I remember how my hand shook as I fumbled for my pack of cigarettes. I lit one and took a long drag, but it did nothing to calm me down. And as I paced back and forth outside the house, I wondered, what the hell was I going to do? At the time, I knew the owner of the property, a man who will remain nameless, was quite an active figure in London's criminal underground. I just didn't know to what it... Oops. Wart. Oga, boga. Ooga. Amiri, welcome. Wait, is that Ice Poseidon as your profile? That is Ice Poseidon. That's funny. I was like, is that you? I would feel bad if I said that and it was actually just you, but thank you, Amiri. Be back in 30. All right, Mira. See ya. She's the most flexible person I've ever met. Yeah, Yuri. Thank you for whoever gifted membership. Yeah, no worries. I think who was that earlier? BB? I had the stream pause for a while and press play again when you were talking about singing. I sing too. Absolutely go for some lessons, learn tricks and that kind of thing. It's so much fun. I know, I don't know. I guess I've never really properly done it. I've had some people at karaoke say it sounded pretty good, but it's always got to be what's in my wheelhouse to feel really confident about it. So it would just be fun. It would be like playing an instrument, I think, even just humming or whatever. If I, you don't want to be the annoying theater kid who's doing vocal warm-ups in the fucking corner of a subway or whatever, but it would be nice to make some pretty sounds out of the mouth. Now Joel's gonna think I can only do 3 push-ups. I meant pull-ups. Oh, it's whatever. I mean, at the same, it's they're both hard, I mean, push-ups are a little bit easier than pull-ups, but you just do them. Literally, when it comes to calisthenics stuff like that, push-ups, pull-ups, you just keep doing them. You do them, you do them, you do them, and you get good. I know you mentioned it before, but who is the artist who does these videos? Oh, the background. That's Robin Mikalsen. He's from Norway. He is a genius, I will say, when it comes to learning really any form of art on the computer, Photoshop, 3D animation, all that kind of stuff. He learns it in a day, and he can make stuff like this. He's linked in a lot of my videos, but he also, I follow him on Instagram if you wanted to find him on there or see his work and stuff. But he is the man with a plan. Sadly, he's been a little under the weather lately. No worries. It's to the point where I couldn't even tell you the second most inflexible person I know, because that's at least 75% more flexible than... Wait, who are you talking about? I think I have undiagnosed ADHD and I do vocal stimming like singing or humming. Have you screeched? Have you done any screeching? I think that usually helps me. Joey, please make sure to... Who would you do any collabs? Oh, yeah, for show. Collab with... at this point in the YouTube career, the obvious, most beneficial sort of collaboration is collabing with people above yourself. You don't want to seem like a jerk and say that outright, but I mean that tends to be the desire, is a sort of sense of upward mobility. And we do have some cool things coming up, which I'm excited to tell you about eventually. But at the same time, I do really appreciate, if I ever, I've worked with, you remember, Jay Nightmares? Obviously his channel is not as big as mine, but he's a great narrator, and he helped me find, secure a bunch of, Japanese horror stories, right? And translate them and whatnot, and that in my opinion, the fact that he's doing the legwork to get the content, that deserves like a collaboration, Do another video with Lazy Masquerade. Yeah, that'd be fun. Lazy's videos have been sick lately. Like just the topic he's been covering, they've been doing really well. A pterodactyl. Do I listen to Raven Reads? I don't think I've ever listened, but I've heard her mentioned here before. When you started singing, it sounded like Fine Print by Stupendium. Thank you, dude. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Mr. I mean, it would be great to work with Mr. Nightmare one day. I mean, yeah, who knows? I think right now, like, working with him, it's like, I would pay him to do it, if he... But, I mean, obviously, most YouTubers don't really have any desire for, like, money unless it's, like, organized or something, I suppose. But maybe the channel will pop off to an extent that it'll actually be worth a cross-promotional aspect. But at the same time, I'm sure like most people know about our channels like separate from each other. Oh yeah, Nexpo, Nick Crawley, that would be sick. I love those guys. They're kicking butt, making really cool stuff. Nexpo's new podcast with Mr. Ballin looks awesome. Destroyer Lynn, thank you for the 2. Thank you. At the time, I knew the owner of the property, a man who will remain... Damn. At the time, Wait, did I already read Pace back and... Oh, okay. Excuse me. At the time, I knew the owner of the property, a man who will remain nameless, was quite an active figure in London's criminal underworld. I just didn't know to what extent. That meant that he'd probably go mental if I just phoned the police and invited them into one of his gaffes. But this wasn't just a broken window or a tenant who wouldn't pay up. This was a goddamn body. I dug out a few coins from my pocket and walked to the phone box around the corner, and from there I rang the owner, the cig burning down my fingers as I dialed his number. His missus picked up the phone, handed it over to him, then I told him all about the body in the suitcase. I obviously didn't just come out and say it, not over the phone, but we had a way of talking back then where you said things without saying them. Once he'd gotten the gist of it, I thought that the owner was going to flip his lid, but instead, he stayed calm, a bit too calm under the circumstances, and asked me if I was sure the tenant had departed. When I told him that I was sure as eggs is eggs... What? I'm sure as eggs is eggs, mate. I'm sure as eggs berry pie. A British delicacy, eggs berry pie. What's the lore behind Wart Wart? It's from Halo. It's the elites. Whenever they see you, they go, Wart 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 Wart. I don't even know. I think it's basically the game devs recorded themselves saying stuff in like, a monster type voice, but then they would play it backwards, and then that became the voices of the elite in like Halo. Wooga wooga. It says go 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 backwards and slowed down. Okay, nice, that's awesome. Eggs are expensive. I think eggs have dropped like 92%, which is kind of exciting. Wait, okay. Let's ask chat BBC real quick. How much have egg prices dropped recently? Significant decline in recent weeks, particularly on the wholesale level. As of mid-April 2025, the average national wholesale price of large white eggs dropped to approximately $3 per dozen, a substantial decrease from the February $5.90 per dozen peak. Well, that's solid. That's like almost more than 100% drop, right? Or 50% drop? Yeah, 50%. Or I don't even know. You thought it was a bastardization of Waka Waka? No. It goes deep. We've been warding at each other for years and years. Mr. Nightmare is AI. He is not. No. I think someone was just trolling because he made a post about it or whatever, because people were in a similar fashion accusing me of being AI. The nice thing is we got years of live streams to demonstrate my non-AI-ification. Okay. What should we say instead of "I was sure as eggs is eggs"? Is that a saying? When I told him I was sure as shit on rice? No. Flies on shit? Flies on poo? Yeah, sure as shit. Eggs is eggs, do it. Alright, whatever, we'll just keep eggs as eggs. It is kind of funny. When I told him I was sure as eggs is eggs, he told me not to involve anyone else and asked where the tenant was right now. Then when I told him, he asked me to help the tenant move out. I told him in so many words anyway that if he thought that I was getting involved in a murder, he was as mad as a March. Alright, we can't have two 1980s British comparison sayings one after another. Hey, Mega! With the 39 months, says Joel occasionally strips on lives, and AI will never do that for us. Also, I heard eggs is eggs. It's old-timey. Okay. Stripping down an egg, removing the outer shell. He was as mad as a March hare. I'll just say he was mad. I feel like it's distracting whenever there's too many you call it a colloquialism or something? Jonah, I like where your head's at, man. Joe, when you think of BBC, which one do you think of? BBC 1, BBC 2, BBC 3, BBC 4. Eggs is eggs equals jizz is jizz. I don't know. I'll have to ask the king of eggs. The head chicken. I told him in so many words anyway that if he thought that I was getting involved in a murder, he was mad. I said we needed to call the police, limit what they were told about the properties and the tenants, then hope they breezed past us without getting a whiff of what we were doing. But the owner wasn't having it. He said if I went to the police, not only would I be out of a job, but I'd also be in serious trouble. Then before I could argue further, he hung up. Until that day, all I knew about the owner of the shared house was that he was involved in renting flats. Well, dodgy ones at that. I might have been a bit of a geezer back then, but I wasn't stupid, and what he said on that phone clued me into the fact that whatever else he was involved in, it was a lot more illegal than just some dodgy flat shares. My heart was pounding after that phone call, my head spinning with all kinds of frightening realizations. For the past God knows how long, I've been working for someone who was now casually telling me to dispose of a body like it was nothing. This was more than just being some dodgy landlord. You'd have to be a real dark kind of person not to even flinch at something like this. But this guy knew my name, my family's names, where I live, everything. But at the same time, my fingerprints were on that suitcase, and when we finally got Channel 5, it was a huge event. Turn your dials to Channel 5. Hello everyone, this is BBC 5. Today we're going to be investigating what the hell they put in the extra spicy curry down the street, and why does it make my tummy rumble? But at the same time, my fingerprints were on that suitcase, and if I didn't get out ahead of it and tell the coppers that all I'd done was stumble across it, then there was a good chance that I'd be going down for something, maybe even murder. I didn't want to go back to the house, and I didn't want to just drive home either, so instead, I went to the pub. There was a place called the Red Lion down the road from the phone box, and even though it was only a bit past 12, I drank a pint of lager and about 4 or 5 gulps. There was a place called the Red Lion down the road from the phone box, and even though it was only a bit past 12, I drank a pint of lager and about 4 or 5 gulps just to steady my nerves. The barman clocked me and gave me a funny look, but didn't say anything. He just left me to drown my sorrows in peace. Then I sat there, staring at my glass, wondering how everything could go from normal to nightmare so quickly and so drastically. Yuri was a good tenant. He was quiet. He paid me on time. He seemed like a nice bloke too, so who'd do something like that to him and why? After maybe 15 to 20 minutes of staring at the bar top and weighing up my options, I decided to do the smart thing. I fished around my pocket for some more change and walked back to the phone box and phoned the police. The cops turned up about 20 minutes later, 2 of them in a Panda car with their lights flashing, and I was back outside the house by then, so I gave them a wave as they drove down the street, then showed them the upstairs to where Yuri's body was in the suitcase. I only told them what they needed to know, and they said that I'd done the right thing by calling them, but still, I was terrified, because I knew that as soon as my boss got wind that I'd been talking to the police, I'd be in deep, deep doo-doo. That night, I crashed at my mate Dave's place over in Camden. I couldn't go back to my own flat, it'd be too risky, so he gave me a place to sleep for the night. But all I did was lie on his sofa, eyes wide open, thinking about how my life was about to change completely. The next day, I heard word. Joel, you had the best take last stream on the H3 Ian and Half Beef, like you're one of the only sane ones left. That's funny. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I a little more context to the fact that they like tried to send CPS or whatever to H3's family. I mean, that was where it kind of like clearly I would side with Ethan on that concept, just to like I would be able to step back from all of that stupid stuff and be like, these guys are idiots, to being like, all right, you guys, you need to, whichever of one of your crazed fans has decided to like falsify a claim to CPS to try to get these people's kids taken away. Like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just demonstrably proves to me that the majority of the fans that exist within that space that, like, iDubbbz is, like, trying to cater to now, or, like, sort of show that he can be trusted in their little clan, like, they're all insane. Like, they're genuinely insane people that are mentally ill and weird and probably don't get off Twitter ever, you know what I mean? Like, you really, that's who you've decided to like flirt with. Like, I don't really follow the logic there, but I don't know. It's just all annoying as fuck. Ashton Powers, thank you and welcome to the Buttersuck Cult. Appreciate you, dude. iDubbbz saw and sent child protective service to the clients. No, not them, but it was just like there was like some guy named Denims or some shit, and like, I'm not gonna blame him, I don't know the fucking full context, but it was just something within that narrative claiming that there was like dog shit, or, well, it was just like such a weird narrative of like there's dog shit on the floor that they don't clean up because their housemaid left because the housemaid doesn't like them anymore and is suing them or something, and then they're implying that there's Giardia or whatever, the bacteria in poop or something that's on the floor, and then therefore the baby is going to be crawling around and like getting into the poop, and therefore is going, you know, so it's just like one of their insane fans, or one of them, like just fucking like just an insane amount of like logical hoops and loops and boops to jump through. That, yeah. Do I rap? Just in my spare time, just at church. Do I smoke? I rap, and if I do a good rap, I've earned 1 smoke. CPS is the new swatting, yeah. Nobody calls CPS and get my cat taken away, please. I sound like Ben Shapiro sped up. That's funny.
You're going to want to hear this. The most important drama when it comes to iDubbbz and H3 Ethan Klein. I've had it about up to here, but first, let's hear about comfy sheets. Comfy sheets is something that you're going to want to fall asleep to, especially whenever your wife is a doctor. She probably doesn't get much sleep. So you have to sleep for the both of you.
If you bump the stream back a little bit, then play it. Yeah. And Philip DeFranco. Dude, I'm coming to full YouTuber status. I'm becoming everybody all at one time. Can I sing metal real quick? Like bang on a piece of metal? Or you mean like screamo? I'd probably not be able to do that too long. You regret asking? I don't know. It sounds like I'm just burping. Isn't that what it is? Don't they just let out like a huge burp? The next day, I heard word had gotten back to my boss, or by then my former boss, that Yuri's body was with the coroner and that the police were talking to the tenants in the house that he owned. Assuming that was true, my former boss had almost certainly sent people out looking for me, so I asked Dave if I could lie low at his place for a few days until it was safe to return to my flat to grab my stuff. He said that was fine, but I didn't exactly tell him the whole story. If I had, I'm not sure that he'd have let me stay. I didn't go out at all, and Dave definitely knew something was up, but he didn't ask questions. I just kind of hung out on the couch drinking his lager and wondering if I was going to end up moving to Brighton, Birmingham, or maybe even Manchester. And about spoiler blocker? Yeah, I definitely. You're going to get the full experience on like a normal video for show. You got a pig squeal. Is that how you do metal? It's actually breathing in is how you do metal screamo. I'm disturbing your cats. Wakey, wakey, kitty cats. We're gonna do a content cop on cats, on cat videos. How come he should, iDubbbz should have just did a content cop on cat videos and SpongeBob memes. That would have been way more interesting. About a week later, I went around to my flat in the middle of the night to grab a few bits and bobs, but when I got there, the place had been trashed. Whoever my boss had sent had done something to the lock because it didn't look like anything was wrong until I tried to put my key in the door, and it creaked open from the force. Inside, my flat looked like a bomb had hit it. They'd smashed my telephone, ripped up my sofa, broken all my records, and from the smell of the bedroom, they'd gone to the toilet all over my clothes. I didn't take anything with me. There was really nothing to take. The only thing that mattered was getting my mum's, then getting to my mum's. To me mum. Me mum. You don't know who is Ben Shapiro? Interesting. You've been on the internet? Well, honestly, it's probably for the best to just not know anybody on the internet because it's just all so pointless. Just chasing your tail for years and years and it's just like existing on like a treadmill forever. It's like being on that treadmill but like screaming Like, pretend you're at the gym and you're on a treadmill and you're screaming. And you don't realize you're screaming, but then you take your headphones off and then you hear yourself screaming and you're like, oh, I sound like a fucking idiot. And you also realize you're on a treadmill chasing a carrot on a stick. I don't know. Basically, it's stupid. Don't do it. What shows do I watch? Well, I haven't watched much this week, to be honest with you. I did finish Love on the Spectrum, as I said before, which was peak cinema. You only need to know Ben Franklin invented the $10 bill. After deleting Facebook and other social media sites, I never felt better. It is quite strange. I mean, I like, my friends will send me, like, look what so-and-so posted, and it'll be like a friend of ours from, you know, years prior or whatever, and my friends are still on Facebook or whatever, and they just show me this, like, diatribe that somebody goes on Facebook about some modern bullshit or whatever, and I'm just like, dude, thank Christ I deleted that shit, like, I don't know how many years ago at this point, but it was actually hard when I first tried. It took me a few tries to, like, allow it to just rot away, you know what I mean? But, you know, the less you're involved in, like, computer interaction, just the happier the individual is. I mean, in many ways, like, ignorance is bliss, you know? There's nothing better than waking up and getting ready for work. One of your live streams always makes me greetings from Berlin, Germany. Hey, guten Tag. Guten Tag, Klasse. Wie geht's? Dankeschön. Is that when I know I'm a geezer? When you delete your social media? Yeah, probably. When you've, like, matured to the point where you're like, this is fucking stupid. But granted, I still have, like, there'll probably be a day where I just delete Instagram too, just to completely isolate myself away from it. You haven't opened my IG app in a few years. I kind of want to go follow your account, though. It's not, I mean, I don't post anything. I mean, I did post picture of Pradeep on my story, but that's probably already gone by now anyways. And that's really the only thing I post. And then I just scroll on there and look at stupid memes or whatever. I do use Reddit more these days, though, but I'm only active on, like, one subreddit. Yeah, if you can just, like, if there's, like, one community that you enjoy, it makes sense to kind of exist there. But other than that, I mean, Reddit is just, like, filled with Looney Tune characters. And you can't expect it's, like, a nice website in the sense that you should be able to have, like, nice discussions where people could post long paragraphs with retorts and links and references and all this cool syntax and shit, but it's just been taken over, and it's still sort of, it just has so many remnants of, like, the 2016 to 2020 era, like, censorship-ism, you know what I mean, of, like, discussing things, where if you discuss anything at all, or you're even subscribed to a particular subreddit, Reddit, like, certain subreddits will ban you just for existing over there or whatever. So it's like, I don't know. I can't really respect people's opinions if they just, like, preemptive, like, they pre-crime you on your thoughts. You know, it's honestly embarrassing at this point. Hey, Skinwalker Wendigo, thank you, dude. You influence people to unfollow. That's fine. What's my backdrop video supposed to be? That's Wendy. She's just hanging out in the spring rain. The only thing that mattered was getting to my mom's, and then getting on a coach. Sorry, I keep saying couch. The only thing that mattered was getting to my mum's, and then getting her on a coach to Manchester, the furthest of my options, before anything happened to her. 2 guys had already been over asking where I was, so she knew that I was in some sort of trouble. But it still took some convincing to get my mum to pack a bag. She didn't know how I'd made my money, so I had to spill the beans of her son being a bit of a naughty boy before she understood how serious things were. I told her the men looking for me were bad people, and that the next time they darkened her door. What are my thought crimes? Basically thinking any thoughts that are not the same as Hassan Piker. If you deviate from his doctrines at all, Twitter will take your balls and cut them off with a hot razor. You didn't know how I made my oh, shit. She didn't know how I made my money, so I had to spill the beans on her son being a bit of a naughty boy before she understood how serious things were. I told her the men looking for me were bad people, and that the next time they darkened her door, they might hurt her as a way of getting to me. The next day, me and Mum were in a B&B up in Manchester. I had a few Quidditch. Hey, Kyrie, how we doing? Is that how you say it, or is it Kyrie? Kyrie, okay, nice. Bring those buns, I got the weenies, wink wink. What are you guys doing in chat? You're gonna give each other a malware virus. We missed you. We were asking every streamer, like, where the fuck is Kyrie at? So we started looking for you. We went to find you. The next day, me and Mum were in a B&B up in Manchester. I had a few quid in my pocket, so I found us both places to stay quite quickly, and then after that, it was a case of trying to go straight and earn an honest living for the first time in my life. No one ever found us, but at night the nightmares did. I dreamed that someone was zipping me into a suitcase and then shoving me under a bed, and I'd wake up scared thinking someone was at the door. But no one would ever... Still $9 at your grocery store? Oh, Kimball, you're talking about eggs. You must be in California. I wouldn't be surprised if they start just arbitrarily taxing certain animal products or some shit in California because of some abstract concept of veganism or fucking carbon footprint. We don't want you any longer eating protein that we haven't made in a laboratory. But no one ever was. It was just my imagination. Sometimes I wonder if the cops ever got anywhere with Yuri's murder. I doubt it, but I also don't think that it was my former boss that had anything to do with it either. He just wanted me to get rid of the suitcase, and if for some reason he had wanted Yuri dead, then he'd surely have given the job to someone more cold-blooded and reliable than myself. No, I think someone else put Yuri in that suitcase. I don't know why, but I know they'd have to be pretty scary to be able to best a 6-foot barrel-chested Eastern European guy like Yuri. Then to twist him up like that, to snap his arms and legs and fold him in half. It takes a very frightening person to do something like that. A person I'm very glad I never had to meet. Okay, honest question. Should I start with that story? We'll read other... We had 3 more after this, but what do you get? Was that one that, like, kind of shocked your bones a little bit, or not so much? Because that one was pretty wild. IMHO. Beware of artificial dyes, colors, natural flavors in your food, and watch your mood. Do your emotions come out easier, like sadness or anger? What do you guys think of chamomile tea? Does chamomile tea ever help make you feel like a boosted sense of mood? For me, I really like Chipotle burritos. They make me feel good. I sprinkle a little crack on it too. It's very calming. Okay. You like chamomile? Love honey vanilla chamomile. Damn, that does sound good. You like sushi? Yeah, mix it in the yeah, just like dabbing the chamomile packet in the lean. Almost done with season 3 and met Perry, the train girl, and Georgie. Yeah, I honestly was like most happy for Connor, I would say, just because, I don't know, I was very invested in Connor's outcome, and I just really liked the train girl just because he was so she was so happy all the time and smiling, and I'm just like, fuck yeah, dude, she's living it up. Doesn't matter what the outcome is, she is gonna be smiling. Shit, do I have any water? There's a water shortage on my desk. You ever afraid when you go to take a drink from a cup you've left for a little while, there's gonna be a fucking spider in it, and you just drank a spider? Because it's not gonna get drunk easy, you know what I mean? Fried chicken batter. That's why does that sound kind of good, honestly? Crack cocaine crushed down, thrown into fried chicken batter. I wonder if like the frying aspect would like activate the crack. It might a little bit. There was a Popeyes that did it. Okay. Was everyone tweaking? Oh, it happened to you, Kimball? I did it once. Core memory of a spider touching my lips. No way. See, I had a premonition. I knew it happened to somebody. Someone in this chat. I wish spiders weren't so freaking annoying, dude. I wish they could just be like nice little pets. I know someone in here probably has a pet spider, but I just have a feeling that you're not having a great time, honestly. Like, as much as people want to like love these like unpredictable predator animals, you've got a good heart. I just remember how I once put my hood up on my hoodie and there was a big spider in it. Oh my god. The worst is just like feeling it, so now you have to like look like a freaking schizophrenic, like shaking around like. Which, speaking of which, while I was driving around earlier, it was pretty funny. There was like some mentally ill homeless man in the road who initially I thought was giving directions to me to turn, but he was actually just in the middle of the road, like kind of like pointing, like polling. Maybe he had force powers, I don't know, but he didn't work on me. I'm gonna play the Oblivion remake. I hope to. I thought about it like as a stream game, but I'm like, that's one of those ones you kind of have to play by yourself and just get sucked in, you know what I mean? Just like absolutely immersed in your fake nerd reality. Hey Vince, what's up, dude? What are you doing? Crack is whack, yo. I want to see like an actual crackhead say that. Crack is whack. I saw one streamed it for like 67 hours live. That's awesome. I don't know. It's crazy. I mean, it came out at the perfect time. No advertising, no nothing. People were just like, oh, it's out? Oh, okay, I'll fucking buy that. Everything else sucks ass. Do I like snakes? Nope. Don't like snakes. I mean, I like the idea of snakes in the sense of like, I like the movie Anaconda when the snake eats people. That's not me. It's entertaining. But if I had to, I don't even know. My one old roommate had like one of those like weird green snakes that hangs from a little bit of a tree. It wasn't too big, but I just looked into its eyes. It looked more lizard than snake in a weird way, like a lizard head. And I just knew for a fact, I'm like, this piece of shit with its like very nice and silky smooth snake skin, I know for a fact that I'm going to be I'm like, has he ever bit anybody? He's like, no. And I'm like, I know I'm going to be the first one to get fucking bit. Right on my like face too. It's going to like grab my like upper lip like into my nose and just like pierce them together. Eight-Legged Freaks. That's a great movie. Yeah, I love that movie. It's been forever. Did that happen? It didn't, no. Eight-Legged Freaks did. That's a documentary. Nature's Botox. Do you listen to other narrators? I listen to them like one time just to see what they sound like, and then I don't really listen to that kind of content. But Wendigoon recently released, or just a couple days ago, released a video about, what's it called again? The Yellow Book or something? It's almost like a modern day Cthulhu mythos book that's supposedly a very good book. The King in Yellow, yep. That looked pretty sick. His thumbnails have been fire also recently. You see the Toys R Us movie coming out and it's live action, or does that make it? Honestly, it's... as long as it's got Jack Black. What if every movie from now on just has Jack Black in it? Because like Hollywood always like kind of like overreacts to like success of things, so just to get people back into theaters, they put Jack Black in it. House Shark. No, I've not heard of it. It was before Cthulhu in the 1800s. Oh, really? I thought it was like a modern day book. Wouldn't mind getting bit by a snake as long as it wasn't venomous, of course. Why? How come? Like, you want that? You're just waiting. You keep your arm dangling over the edge of your bed. Any day now. Jack Black's the new Timothy Chalamet. Pretty much. It is interesting how finicky the realm of, like, Hollywood acting is. I can love you one week and hate you the next, you know? Hence why all of them should make a YouTube channel. Honestly, that wouldn't be a terrible thing. Like that Rachel Zegler girl who kind of got blacklisted from all future movies or whatever. She should just make a YouTube channel where she puts on makeup and talks about crime. She's like, this one's about a guy who gets folded up in a suitcase and he's a fucking like gross dead body. Ew. Hey, what's up, Liz? You're high? What are you high on? High off the goop? To be fair, she was annoying. Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you're like a pretty prominent Hollywood figure, like you really should just keep your fucking mouth shut, honestly. Like, I get it. Sometimes, like, you look at Kanye, like he's gonna tweet something out about like sucking his like cousin's wiener for like years or whatever. Like I get the process, you know, not the wiener sucking, but like the fact that you say something crazy to like get attention for a new album coming out or something. But when it comes to Snow White, I think you should have a little more tact, you know, when it comes to discussing stuff. Well, yeah, I mean, like even if like whatever her stuff is, it's still like you're in a professional situation. This movie's for fucking kids and Disney adults. Like, no one needs to hear about the death of people. Or whatever. You're my favorite, Joel. Thank you for being a single video. And close to the end, I have a new job and want to show my appreciation. First paycheck, re-listen to your stories when no new... Oh, thank you, Dark Monster. Yeah. And no movies. Or no, not no movies, but no worries. She's high off the metharoni. Do another scariest stories you ever heard. Yeah, that one's kind of tough because it's like all creepypasta that's usually from like the bonus content, but like remastered bonus content audio into like over to but honestly, there's a part of me that just kind of wishes my entire YouTube channel was just like solely based around those videos. As weird as that sounds, like I honestly wouldn't mind just like recording, you know, an anthology of just like really good creepypasta stuff and like horror fiction and just putting them out in like big 4-hour compilations, right?
And, you know, you don't have to worry about anybody getting mad that the story sounds fake or whatever. Or, like, they just get to enjoy it, and that's fucking it. What's a recession indicator? For this channel, if I do a content cop on Pradeep. You listen to T6 channel about scary fortune stories. I definitely have heard it. Yeah, I've worked with T6 in the past. He's transcribed quite a few 4chan stories for me as well, which has been nice of him. Has anyone seen the Brett Cooper Snow White? Nah. I don't know. I saw like the Daily Wire. Like I saw some stuff in like scrolling reels. The Daily Wire made some just fucking like cringe ass movies or whatever. I just like I can't. You know what I mean? Like this whole culture war shit. Like it's just cringe on like both sides at this point. That I don't even know what they're. I don't know. They're just like trying to squeeze blood out of a stone at this point, and I just don't give a fuck. Reading novels? No, I'm not like. Sadly, I'm kind of just a fucking noob when it comes to just anything. Honestly, I would not be surprised at some point in my life if I'm not just like sitting in a fucking gas station playing with a lottery machine or whatever, and then that's just like all I do all day, and then being like pissed when I don't win 10 million bucks, and then if I do win the 10 million bucks, I just go spend it again and get pissed I lost it all. Have you ever watched Bamladino Crocodilo? Now that's a good one. I have done a collab with Mr. Lazy Masquerade. Done a few of them in the past. I forget which videos they were though. I pull the 360 and become president. I face the exact same trajectory I'm going and become president. Honestly, let's think. What connections would I need to become president? I'd have to have like an uncle that found all of like Tesla's old research papers or something. I could start there, maybe. I do have that. Back in the late 80s, I was slinging keys as a landlord here in New York City, managing a couple of walk-ups over in the East Village. They weren't nothing fancy, just a couple of crumbling brick buildings with tenants who paid late and pipes that groaned louder. I thought your voice was KL. You are an amazing man. Thank you, dude. Challenge must go Overwatch. He's just gonna hire another H1B1 applicant to play for him. Which is bullshit. I don't even know. Overwatch sucks so bad, man. God. They introduced this like stadium mode and it's so dumb. Andrew Batts, welcome back for 13 months. Says, happy to be here. Going home day after tomorrow. Pain doc was awesome. Got 72-hour fentanyl patches and Percocet for breakthrough pain. Wait, yeah, what happened, Andrew? I feel like you're out in the hospital a lot. Was this another surgery or what do you use for background in your videos? What software? Well, like the one you're seeing right here, that's animation done by Robin Mikalsen, but normally the background of videos is normally it's I don't know, dude, I use Sony Vegas. Let me just advise, like, don't use Sony Vegas.
Sorry. Anyways, Creeks Landfill. Welcome to the Buttersalt Cult. You now have access to bonus content. I need a cringe sidekick. I know, Pradeep needs to say, like, more one-liners from time to time. They weren't fancy. Just a couple of crumbly brick buildings with tenants who paid late and pipes that groaned louder than a drunk on St. Paddy's. I had some real crazy tenants from time to time. Not all of them were bad. There were some good ones, don't get me wrong. But out of the bad lot, the worst was the guy that lived in apartment 4. Because sometimes... But out of the bad bunch, the worst guy was the guy that lived in apartment 4. Because sometimes, what happened there still crawls into my head at night like a roach that I can't quite squish. What the fuck? This guy's really going hard. Because sometimes we crawl... Yeah, we'll just skip that. That sounds so dumb. Because sometimes what happens there's... Because sometimes, what happened there still crawls in my head at night. It started with a phone call one afternoon in July. It was hot as hell outside and I was in my office in the back of a deli on Avenue A when the phone on my desk started ringing louder. It was hot as hell outside, and I was in my office in the back of a deli on Avenue A when this... Looks similar to Swamp Dweller's intro. Yeah, I think, honestly, that might be the same model because... Unless that was Jensen that made Swamp Dweller's intro, but I vaguely recall Robin had done some work for Swamp Dweller as well. What meat do I stuff in my burrito? Chipotle recently has like this like sweet chicken. I forget what it was. It's like almost like spicy honey chicken or something like that, and it's really good. Do you edit the stories you read? Yeah, I mean, if the author is trying like way too hard to sound cool, yeah, the honey chipotle is so good. It actually gives like the burrito some flavor. But yeah, if the author's trying a little too hard, I just kind of have to like back off because I just feel like it almost like distracts me from reading the story. Like sometimes just get to the motherfucking point. Works cited, yeah. You like the bowls? It's kind of funny. It's like when I eat a bowl from Chipotle, I can't eat quite as much as I can with a burrito. But for some reason, when I'm sitting there holding a big fucking honking, diaper filled with shit, essentially, like I just want to shove it in my mouth, It was hot as hell outside, and I was in my office in the back of a deli on Avenue A when the phone on my desk started ringing loud. The lady's voice on the other end was polite, almost sweet, and she said something like, "Excuse me, sir. I'm looking for my uncle, Albert Russo. I think he rents an apartment from you on East 10th. And I figured that she was talking about Al. He was a quiet guy in his mid-60s who always slipped the rent under my door in an envelope like clockwork. And I told her, yeah, I had an Albert in 4, and then asked who was calling. It was his niece, a girl named Clara, and she hadn't heard from him in weeks. Uncle Al hadn't been picking up his phone, and she was getting worried, but since she didn't want to risk the cops kicking his door down just to find his phone unplugged, she figured that she'd call me first. I appreciated that, a whole lot actually, and when she asked if I could let her into his apartment so she could check on him, I was only too happy to help her out. A few hours later, I grabbed my keys and headed over there to meet her. A bowl equals 2 burritos, get 2 tortillas on the side. Wait, really? Really? The amount of shit that's in a Chipotle bowl is equal to 2 burritos. That's crazy. That's a game changer right there. And I guess you could even like get like low carb burrito wraps and shit if you really were on like some diet. I know Taco Bell kind of like semi-introduced some type of like healthy choices on their menu. Is that true, or is it still just as diarrhea inducing? Also, I'm so sorry for all the poop jokes. I just can't, I can't help it, man. It was peak humor when we were monkeys. It's peak humor now that we're monkeys with iPhones, you know. It's just great. Am I mad at you? No, why would I be mad at you? Bowls are a better value, dinner and next day lunch. Oh shit. Mr. J. I thought that diet was friendly because of the absence of the tortilla. More tortilla. Boy stuff. Yeah. Do girls make jokes? Like, honest, like, I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but like growing up, some of you guys are girls. Like, growing up, did you guys ever make jokes to each other? Or is it just not, you just don't really do that? You do, okay. What jokes do you guys do? Okay, 2 brothers. Well, so the brothers made the jokes, right? Girls with brothers are honestly so... Like I can talk to them probably the easiest, I would say, because they're kind of used to the just, you know, the tornado that is being a dude. No girls ever made a joke, nor ever will. I mean, I would hope not. You know, it's like, what if it's not funny? They make freaky jokes. Oh, okay. Their jokes are more freaky-ish. Like, they'll freak you out if you hear them say it. Hey, Lottie Lou, take care. Nighty-night. Joking is a way of life. Okay, good. Alright, so guys and girls do have something in common here. We do enjoy laughter. A few hours later, I grabbed my keys and headed over there to meet that niece, Clara. And when I got there, I saw a blonde lady who looked to be in her 30s standing outside apartment number 324. I introduced myself and she thanked me very politely before we went inside, but there was still kind of this background tension, you know? We both knew that there was a chance something bad had happened to her Uncle Al, and whatever that thing was, we were about to walk right into it. We climbed the stairs to apartment 4. Wait. What number 324 versus apartment 4? Where are they standing? Is 324 the street address? Guy jokes are more mean. Oh, yeah, that's true. We are pretty mean, honestly. You girls' jokes are like mainly whoopee cushions, and maybe you have like a flower on like your big clown suit, and someone gets close and you spray them in the face with water with a flower. I always just assumed girls, when they told jokes, they would just pie each other. Anytime anything's like funny, they just got done baking a pie in the kitchen and they're gonna throw it in your face as another girl. Not really a joke, but when I was little, my sister and I used to call each other butt queefs, and we had no idea what queef was, where we heard it from. That's awesome. Honestly, it's like there's the amount of shit that like my friends' kids say that I know for like it's honestly insane to me sometimes when I hear them making like meme references that I feel like I just heard that same day or whatever. And I'm like, there's no goddamn way that these kids who are like in elementary school have like the exact same level of humor as I do right now. Or like they're learning what comedy is in real time from the same place I'm getting mine. And it's probably what's happening. You have a good joke, let's hear it. If I don't laugh, you are banned forever and you're getting pied. Your 6-year-old asked me, Mom, do you know what a meme is? God damn it, Bobby, do I look like I know what a meme is?
But Dad, memes are usually top text then bottom text.
And kids make, yeah, dude, they're so funny. I want to let you know that you're amazing. You saved me more times than I can count. Oh, you're welcome. I saved you from a burning tree, like a kitty cat. Do you all guys have a gay experience? Like where we poop and it kind of feels good coming out or something, and we're like, whoa, what was that? No, you know, I can kind of see why girls, like going to college or something, they want to get into their bisexual era or whatever the fuck they do in those rooms. I've never been in them before, I know, but I know something goes on in there. And I don't know, like I can kind of see why girls would find other girls attractive. They are just very attractive. But when I look at guys, I either feel a sense, I feel like I feel two senses. I feel a tingle in my balls. No, it's like I either feel like I hate you, or I am jealous of what you have, or you're my friend. There's not many times I look and get a boner, you know what I mean? So I guess there's still time. I could become late stage gay when I'm like in a nursing home. I wonder if that happens. You get like Alzheimer's. You go into a nursing home, you have Alzheimer's, you ate too much Dr. Pepper your whole life, and yeah, I don't know, now you're gay. I'm not ruling it out for my future. How to be a narrator like me. You get microphone, you read story. What's up, Shell? Shells bells. Dr. Pepper is life, though. Okay, sorry. When I got there, I saw a blonde lady who looked to be in her 30s standing outside number 324. I introduced myself and she thanked me very politely before we went inside, but there was still this kind of background tension. We both knew that there was a chance something bad had happened to her Uncle Al, and whatever that thing was, we were about to walk right into it. We climbed the stairs to apartment 4, then when we got to Albert's door, I knocked hard. I yelled something like, "Hey yo, Al, it's me, Tony, open up." But it stayed quiet on the other side. I knocked again, yelling a little louder, but still nothing. As I fished the key from my pocket, I remember Clara's face getting very tense, like she was bracing herself for whatever was inside. Then I unlocked the door, pushed it open, and the smell hit us like a brick to the face. It wasn't just bad. It absolutely turned our stomachs inside out, like a mix of something sharp and sour that stung your nose. And I gagged and covered my mouth with my sleeve. Clara was coughing before her hand flew up to her face, and I don't suppose either of us wanted to go inside, but I guess I figured that we had to, so we did. The curtains were drawn tight, so the apartment was very dim. I fumbled for the light switch, and when I flicked it on, I wish I hadn't. The place was disgusting.
Trash bags were piled in corners. There were plates crusted with old food, and there was a low hum that I quickly realized was flies buzzing all over the place. We took a few steps inside, cramped.
You had a life-changing peep today. It wasn't the Dr. Pepper peeps?
The Dr. Peeps?
They are fucked.
Well, I didn't have them, but I can only assume if it's Dr. Piss flavored, it's gonna be good.
Started ordering for the break room.
Oh, nice, dude.
In hell.
What does a robot do during a one-night stand? What?
Feels like a fever dream.
Hey, I'm in your closet. Can you open it up, please? It's stuffy in here.
Open it up.
Lynn, thank you for the gift or two. Azzy, thank you. Absolutely crushed my foot today falling up the stairs. Send me some healing beard scritches. There you go. The generic brand of Dr. Pepper is just salt. What would the British brand be called? That's what it's just called, salt soda. With extra sodium. With additional amounts of sodium. That's like British advertising. It's just a drink called salt that's like just aluminum colored with like a black circle around the word salt, like salt. And in the bottom corner in like an explosion text, it's just like with additional Na+. It sounds like David Firth. The British version of all soda is just sparkling water with some salt sprinkled in. Hell yeah. For preservation. Aluminium. An aluminium can. Babes, thank you for the 2. Says nuts and bolts. That does sound like a British product too. Welcome to our hardware store, nuts and bolts. Then I pretend to be gay to make it to girls' sleepovers. Yeah. And I would just like show up naked. It's fine, guys. It's fine. I'm a gay guy. We can do what we want forever. And no one can criticize us or they're also gay. We took a few steps inside the small, cramped apartment, then Clara pointed toward the half-open bedroom door. I nodded, trying to keep it together, then moved towards it. I kept my mouth and nose covered, but every step felt like wading through molasses as the air got thicker and the smell got even worse. Then when I got to the bedroom door, I pushed it all the way open and froze. There on the bed was something. To me, it looked like a decomposing body lying under a stained sheet. Flies were swarming it, dipping in and out of the fabric like it was their own personal buffet. I'd seen bodies before, but nothing as bad as that. Nothing even came close. I remember how Clara gasped. Gaped. Okuyasu Nijimura with the 5 says, what video was your favorite or one of your favorite stories? Have you ever done a personal favorites video? Zahando out. No, I don't even know if I could remember any of my favorites, to be honest. I feel like there's some. I guess we'll have to put Albert Fish on there. Or Albert Knife. Or no, Albert Clock. That was one of my favorites. The knife-wielding slasher. But no, yeah, I don't know if I've ever done like personal favorites before or anything like that, or what even would. Honestly, going back to like my favorite video, it has to be the Sasquatch video I made. It was my most viral and most successful, and I've just never. I feel like I should try to do more videos like that, where it's just
I mean, what would you guys do? I mean, okay, pretend you're the YouTube algorithm. Pretend that you are 1.2 million people that watch me for story narration. What would you do if you suddenly got a video that's more like a countdown style video of, or just like kind of like a bizarre bub where we look at weird shit. We contain multitudes. Do I watch anime? Oh yeah. Non-stop. I'd be drawing it. Every Friday night I boot up my dial-up internet and go to websites and forums that contain Dragon Ball Z images. And I draw them. Babes with a 5. I can't resist until you understand the nuts and bolts was the answer to the robot joke. Okay, I'm sorry. I forgot. There was a lot of downtime. See, that's what girls... See, girls, listen. If you want to be a master joke teller, I'm going to teach you something right now. It's called timing. And never. It's one of the worst mistakes a stand-up comedian could ever make when they're on stage, is waiting an hour to give the punchline. Just get right to it. No wasted time. Okuyasu Nijimura with the 2 says, I think it could be cool. Maybe do a poll. Oh, okay. What's the poll for? Like, would I ask them, what's your favorite? I don't know, because they can't give like specific things. I guess they could just type in chat, huh? Yeah, if your husband falls asleep and you remembered earlier you were going to tell him a joke, wake him up at 3 a.m., specifically maybe like an hour before he has to go to work, or a couple hours, right when he's in his deepest REM sleep, to let him know that you forgot to tell him the punchline. But babes, thank you again. Vanos or PewDiePie. I don't think I've ever watched Vanos YouTube videos before. I remember seeing his like thumbnails way back in the day and being like, man, those are bright. Let's see, Vanos Gaming. Still doing it. Still doing the bright like rainbow shit in the background. 5 hours ago, 2 days ago. What does he do? He just laughs with his buddies. Dude, I want to go on the social... Here, we're going to Social Blade. There's nothing a YouTuber loves more than going to Social Blade and typing somebody else's success into it. Wait, what's it? Vanos Gaming. So you can be jealous. Holy shit, that's crazy. 37 million views in the last 30 days. That is nutcakes. Follow my heart. Okay. After it's been ripped out of my chest by the demi-goddess herself. It's not funny. What? What's not funny? I'm getting sick all over again. Ugh, body aches suck. Dang. I remember how Clara gasped. I remember how Clara gasped and clutched my arm. She asked if that was her uncle, but I couldn't answer. I know I shouldn't have, but I stepped forward and reached out and pulled back the sheet, and my hands were shaking. But what we saw underneath was absolutely horrifying. It looked like a person at first. At least, it had the same shape. There were what you could imagine to be arms, legs, a head, but the skin was bloated and splitting open in places like rotten fruit. Flies poured out of the cracks, and the eyes, Jesus Christ, the eyes looked like they were completely gone, just black pits with nothing inside of them. I stumbled back, but Clara was already out of the room. I remember hearing her shoes on the stairs, hitting them very fast as she bolted out into the street. And I followed her down. She was outside completely in tears. I told her to wait where she was and then ran to a payphone to dial 911. And my heart was hammering at 100 miles an hour by the time I got there, and although I could barely get the words out, I did, screaming that there's a body. Please hurry. I told them the address and the cops showed up quick. 2 tough-looking sons of bitches who looked like they'd seen everything. And they took one whiff inside apartment 4 and gagged, muttering something about another damn decomp. EMS rolled in and I saw the Vaseline in their noses as they hauled their gear upstairs. Clara and I waited outside and I did my best to try and console her, but after maybe 15 minutes of EMS being up in 4, Ja. Read your comment. Okay, let's go. Let's scroll. Let's do some scrolling. Where is it? I don't even see it. Hot chips and hot firefighters? Is that the one? Jorl. That's funny, you guys wouldn't be the first person to call me Jorl. People think just because they're my friends, they can come up with a cute little pet name for me, and I usually don't resist. They took one whiff inside. Clara and I waited outside, and I did my best control. Okay, there we are. I grabbed a hold of her, and I shook her. I said, "Woman, it's just a body." Your cousin does crime scene cleanup after the cops are done, and that's not Vaseline, it's Vicks Vapor Rub. Maybe he might have just like saw it as like I guess a Vaseline under the nose and doesn't really, I guess he probably doesn't work in like EMS or anything to know what it actually is. Just kind of sees some like goop go under somebody's nose and thinks, oh yeah, that's what they do. It's the name of the between seasons. Oh, sorry, okay. It's KY jelly, yeah. I saw them walk in and put the KY jelly on their own asses and picked up the body. Claire and I went outside and I did my best to try and console her. But after maybe 15 minutes of EMS being up there, things started to get weird. I overheard one of them saying something to the cops about calling forensics in, and I knew that wasn't right unless they suspected some kind of foul play, as they call it. Oops, I didn't mean to add that. I overheard one of them saying something to the cops about calling forensics in, and I knew that wasn't right unless they suspected some kind of foul play. Within the hour, the building was crawling with guys in white suits carrying all kinds of equipment along with a couple of cameras, and after a while, one of them, the short dude with glasses, came down looking like he'd just seen a ghost. He walked right up to me and asked if I was the landlord, and then when I said I was, he told me how the thing on the bed, the thing we thought was Uncle Al, was not human. And this made Claire's head shoot up because, as messed up as the situation was, it was great news to her. If the thing on the bed was not human, then it couldn't have been her uncle, right? And she begged the guy with the glasses to tell us more, but he said that we had to wait for the lab results to come back. After that, the cops decided they wanted to ask us a few questions, and I told them everything I knew, but Clara knew more. Al was a retired school teacher, and he lived alone, and he didn't appear to have any known enemies. The cops then searched the apartment and for the most part found nothing but more trash. But in the freezer, the lowest compartment was almost full to bursting with all kinds of meat. A couple of weeks later, that was the end of, I guess, that was kind of a jump in time there, filled with meat, and we're moving on. Arrested Development quotes, but Mike wins. Dude, I've been watching that show a lot lately. I love Arrested Development, man. Like, I love Job. Job is so fun. I mean, they're all so funny. Tobias. Even, I used to not really like, who's the main actor? I fucking forget his name. Damn. But, yeah, everybody's so funny on that show, man. It's crazy that they're all just... Jason Bateman, thank you, yeah. I used to not really like Jason Bateman a lot, but then I saw him in like a movie. I hadn't seen Arrested Development, but then I saw Jason Bateman in a movie about like a spelling bee, and that was really funny. And I just thought, like, even though because when I was younger, I always thought his delivery was very dry, very asshole-ish, you know, so I just kind of perceived his movies as a high schooler to be somewhat just pretentious or something, you know what I mean? But now that I watch it and now that I'm pretentious, it's great. He rocks. No, I really like him. Yo, Albert, what's up, dude? How's the checkmark life treating you? You should get like a necklace that has like a YouTube verification on it. Jason Bateman talks out of the side of his... And, yeah, you wouldn't believe, Mother, that, I'm not feeling so good since you, tried to bash me over the head with a hammer. I'm sort of gay, but I get a lot of chicks, and it's hard to tell. Sometimes you wonder. What time does Sean Connery get to Wimbledon? I can't wait for guests due to comedic timing matters in question. The answer is 10-ish. 10-ish. That's good. There she blows. Ozarks. Hey, I don't think I've seen him in Ozarks. Is he like a serious character in that? Or is that also a comedy? Who's your favorite character from The Office? Ooh, probably Robert California, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I love all of them. I love Michael. I love Dwight. I even love Jim, even though I, for a while, kind of did not like Jim because it was always just like, I'm Jim, and I'm the attractive guy who looks at the camera to let all like the girls at home know that, yep, I'm surrounded by weirdos, but you can trust me, and if you're sort of normal looking like Pam, maybe we can get married and have sex, you know? That's basically what he was written into the show for. I read through the lines. But, yeah, Robert California is funny as fuck. I don't know. There's just something powerful about his shit. Everything in life is sex. Jim, would you like a nature analogy, or would you like a sex analogy? Oh, nature, please. When two animals have sex... But I love Toby, I love Creed. Oh my god, dude. I was like shitting my pants laughing whenever. Just like, man, I just miss that. I miss how incredibly mean Michael was to Toby. That was like peace for me, man. Seeing him like hold his hand over his face while he looks at Toby with these like death stare eyes and says like, I will kill you. Like that should have won a Grammy. Has thou seen Men in Tights or Princess Bride? I have seen Men in Tights. It's very good. And I've seen bits and pieces of Princess Bride. I know that's like a classic. Why are you the way you are? I don't know. Are shows getting better? Or are they getting worse-aler? I'm actually curious. None of the characters in The Office are called Jim or Pam or Michael. What are you talking about? Fuck. I don't know. These are people that exist in my walls. You like to listen to me while programming. Nice. What are you programming? I might be in need of a programmer. Why are shoes so long? You might be wearing elf shoes, the ones that kind of curl at the end, like the Wicked Witch. It's probably your situation right now. The cops then searched the apartment and, for the most part, found nothing but more trash. But in the freezer, the lowest compartment was almost full to bursting with all kinds of meat. And a couple of weeks later, I got a call from the precinct. The results were in, and they were worse than I could have guessed. That thing on the bed, it definitely wasn't Albert, but what it was a pile of mashed up animal corpses. Apparently there were pigeons, rats, squirrels, raccoons, even some missing cats and dogs from around the neighborhood. Forensics said they'd only been arranged to look human, with the bones and flesh stitched together with wire like some kind of sick art project. And I almost threw up when I heard that, and I never saw how Clara took it, but it probably wasn't good. Sure, her Uncle Albert was probably still alive, but what kind of condition was he in? No sane man disappears and leave a meat... Weird Uncle Al left his meat sculpture in the bed. That's awesome. What's my shoe size? I wear it's anywhere from like 10 to 11s. If you want to make farm money through sites, just make a site with videos that leads to a different site. Just remember to stockpile your site with advertisement. Can you give any examples of what you're talking about? Like what sites do this already? We got all the parts from the SPCA, yeah. He sounds pretty sane. Oh, adult sites. Like ones with cool M-weighted games on it. Chat, I am going through a breakup and it hurts like hell. He's moving out and I have to live in the shell of our life. Damn. Well, that's okay. I know it sounds like it sucks, but is this your channel? Or is this just... Oh, those are just the featured channels. Like, holy shit, you got 1 million subscribers. In that case, if you got 1 million subscribers and you go through a breakup, that's the worst thing I've ever heard. No, but you got to get to the gym. Not because of anything. No, listen, millennial, listen. We're going to get you into calisthenics and lifting weights. We're going to stick to just barbell stuff. And we're going to do, what do you like for cardio? Do you like biking? You're going to do biking. And you're going to switch your life around. Did you have any kids with this partner? Oh, they left. I didn't mean... Oh, no, they're here. I love skiing, but that's almost over. Well, that's okay. You're going to get into like stationary biking and listen to podcasts or watch TV or something. But you got to get into lifting. We got to start eating healthy. Breakups suck, right? But breakups, when a door closes, another little one that might be the size of the mouse from Tom and Jerry door in the wall opens. And you got to crawl through that shit and basically get to the gym, start like thinking of different goals, whether it's career, maybe you start like an Etsy page where you sell 3D printed jewelry. That sounds kind of cool. Or you could start, well, basically you got to really like throw yourself into something else. And honestly, there's really no better confidence. Give me false hope the door doesn't have to stay closed. I'm a toxic Latina and he bad hit with me. And he bad hit... Wait, what are you talking about? Need to get back into hobbies. Yeah, there's nothing, you know what I mean? Like, you just need to structure. I think when you think about the things that bring most people satisfaction, right? It's like, it's the relationships, Oh, we had it with you. Oh. Oh. So there was some, like, negative things that you feel like you need to work out on your end kind of thing? Which is fine to admit, you know, I mean, it takes a lot of courage to admit, you know, when we're struggling, but, you know, we got to get exercise. We have to have some sort of spiritual outlet, probably, like, you know what I mean? If you can reconnect with a church or something, or church community, you might meet a nice guy there too. Doubling up on the therapy. Yeah, you know, it's just, I think life is really just structure. And that's what it means when someone leaves your life in a relationship sense, is that there's an aspect of that structure that seems to disappear, you know, and therefore it feels like a part of us go. But, you know, if you fill the bucket with a new form of liquid, whatever that might be, it still feels the same weight, I suppose, for a period of time till you get used to your new circumstances. And then if you're doing something healthy, as like healthy hobbies, you know, you have substantially better chances at, and you're working on yourself, etc. Like you have substantially better chances of meeting somebody else that you are happy with and find attractive and all that good stuff. Yeah, no worries. I mean, it sucks. You know, breakups suck, but everything heals in time, and the quicker we realize that, you know, like when it comes to relationships, sometimes I think we put way too much weight on the expectations of the other person to bring us a sense of joy, you know? But I mean, at the end of the day, you are an individual that has to deal with yourself all the time. So if you can find a way and find the thing that brings you a sense of joy all the time and really dig into that and just get experimental with the hobbies and all that kind of stuff till you find that form of art or whatever it is, or outlet that feels good, you know, it's basically like not putting all your eggs in one basket type scenario. So you don't feel as robbed whenever the stock market plummets because, oh, look, you invested in gold and you invested in shitcoin and you invested in properties, you know what I mean? Like, you don't, that's why people always say diversify. You got to diversify your assets, my friend. You stopped working yourself. It was easy to look at him as to why I wasn't happy. Yeah, and I think, honestly, it's okay. You're going to get to the gym, you're going to get to therapy, you're going to, you know, think about your career and your prospects for making money, and maybe you go volunteer at a animal shelter. That sounds nice. Or a church or something like that, and you just, you know, you just stay busy. Just stay busy, and you won't have as much time to dwell on the negative, you know what I mean? Yeah, gambling at a gas station, don't do that. All right. No sane man disappears and leaves a meat sculpture lying in their bed. So even if they found him, what kind of person would they bring home? Oh, that confused me. A P.O. box. I wish I had a P.O. box, but I don't. I'm just always afraid of getting, like, poop covered in glitter. So even if they found him, what kind of a person were they bringing home? I heard the cops were looking for him for a long time. They put out missing persons reports, checked local hospitals, and they even dragged the East River, but they never found anything. I kept in touch with Clara for a while, calling every now and then to check in and see if she'd heard anything about it or not, and she'd always answer, but the reply was always the same. No news. I'll let you know if he turns up. She never did call back with any good news, and after a while I just stopped calling. Not because I stopped caring, but because I figured all I was doing was giving her painful reminders. Not because I stopped caring, but because I figured all I was doing was giving her painful reminders. I always wondered if Clara knew more than she was letting on. Was there some type of history of odd behavior with Al? Some additional reason that she came to... Millennial Stray, thank you for the 10. Very kind of you. Thank you. Appreciate you. Gracias. I always wondered if Clara knew more than she was letting on. Was there a history of odd behavior with Al? Some additional reason she came to his landlord first instead of just calling in a welfare check? I never pushed her on it. Clara was always very sweet, and I know families can be complicated. I just wish that I had the answers to all the questions I have about old Albert in apartment 4 and... I just wish that I had the answers to all the questions that I have about old Albert. I just wish I had the answers to all the questions I have about old Albert and... Okay. I don't know why. The sentence just like... I know it's a sentence, but it feels discordant for some reason. Hey, Crazy Frog, what up? You used to be known as Normal Frog, but then you went nuts. I just wish I had the answers to all the questions I have about old Albert and that meat person he left behind in his bed. Okay, those are two, honestly, those are two good, really out there, weird ass stories, but I liked them. They didn't feel like, you know, they were nuts, but they were interesting. What's the theme tonight? We got creepy tenant / landlord kind of stuff. Know the story behind the meat man. Hey, that crime girl, what up? Will I marry Justin? I don't think gay marriage is legal where I'm at. I live in Saudi Arabia. The meat man took my sandwich. Most of the stories found on Reddit. It's mainly email, letsreadsubmissions@gmail.com. So if you have a story, please be sure to submit it. Hey Emma, thank you, appreciate you. It will be dream to see you collab with Mr. Nightmare. That would be sick. It would be dream. In my head, I live in Maryland, in Bodymore, straight out of Bodymore, baby. The most corrupt, diabolical city in the entire town, in the entire freaking country, dude. Collab with Dark Somnium. Hopefully one day. Thank you, James. Hope you're staying blessed too. Are you excited for the new Sleep Token album? I don't know, dude. I don't know. I don't even know if I know them. Are they good? It makes other life events easier to bear down the road experience. Yeah. AI made by Disney. I really do wonder, like, how, like, what's the most advanced AI we have to date? I assume it has to be like under lock and key, but I'd be curious. I should have sent you my landlord story of a psycho one that ripped me out of my bed for being one day late on rent in my 20s. Holy shit, really? Like, he literally came in and put hands on you while you were in your bed. That's crazy. I want my rent. I want it right now. Also, we are going to play, spin the bottle. I know you say you'll get burnt out, but us normal working men have been burnt out for years, dude. Oh, because I post more. Yeah, yeah. And well, it's kind of tough too with the YouTube algorithm because like once you establish one, like honestly, sometimes YouTube sort of rewards people. Like it does reward people for posting frequently if the audience is there. But I'll be honest with you, if I went back to 3 videos a week, I'd probably be getting overall less views, but putting in more work. So strategically, it might not even be a good choice. I've been a landlord in San Francisco for damn near 40 years, long enough to see every kind of tenant you can imagine. Hippies, tech bros, deadbeats, you name it. I'm kind of just a working class guy, born and raised in the Mission. In the Mission? What is that? Joel is slay. I'm slaying demons. Scraping by on rent for a couple of... Oh, Kitty's here. Hi, Kitty. It's so cute when he, like, rubs into my legs. The Mission. Born and raised in the Mission, scraping by on the rent from a couple of old... Alright. I can astral project a Joel and sit in your lap. Can you actually astral project? It works, right? Isn't that like a thing? Mission District. Oh, okay, thank you, my friend. Out in Frisco. Yo, it's Frisco Bay Area, baby. What does Kitty have to say? He doesn't talk much, but I imagine it's something very offensive. I'm just a working class guy, born and raised in the Mission, scraping by on the rent from a couple of old apartment buildings. They're not anything special, but they're home to folks who need a roof. Most tenants come and go, leave nothing but late rent notices or maybe a couch too heavy to move. But there was a guy in apartment 2B, and his story still haunts me even all these years later. Now this was back in 1989 when James first moved in. He was a scrawny-looking kid in his early to mid-20s, with wire-rimmed glasses and a very nervous smile. You know the type. He said he was a grad student, studying some kind of chemistry, molecules and compounds, stuff like that. He had a deposit, good references, and a promise to keep things very quiet, and he seemed like the perfect tenant, and for a while he really was. Rent came on time, and there were no parties, and he had no complaints. And I barely thought about the kid. He was just another name on a lease. And then, maybe 4 months in, that's when the trouble started. Apartment 3B, as in the one directly above James, was home to a girl named Maria, a young bartender who worked nights at a dive bar, and she called me up one morning with a complaint. She told me something was stinking up her place, something that smelled like chemicals and burnt plastic, and after doing a little investigating on her end, she discovered it was coming from 2B, as in James' apartment. And I figured it was a one-off, that maybe James spilled some cleaning stuff or accidentally started a small fire. Something like that anyway, I've seen it before. I told Maria that I'd check it out and let her know how things went. I knocked on 2B that afternoon, but James didn't answer, so I left a note under his door asking him to call me. He didn't get back to me. Then about a week later, Maria called again. Only this time, she was angry. She told me the smell had gotten worse, and that she couldn't even open up her windows without gagging. In response, I left a message on James's answering machine, and I basically told him that I had to inspect his place, that the lease said that I could, and that I didn't want him to make things any harder than they had to be. He called back that night saying that he was busy with research, then asked if it could wait till the weekend. And so I told him sure, but that it wasn't true to his... Kind of on a run, kind of on a tear here. A terror. Evil Larry. Isn't it funny, like, how quickly, like, a meme comes and dies? You know, like the meme where it's like the lion doesn't concern itself, or like Evil Larry. Like, I think Evil Larry one really stuck around for a while. It probably could have gotten, like, they did James, right? They did the character of James. They did, obviously, Evil Larry. They really could have done various other characters with different voices and implemented them in there. And I could have seen that meme going on for a long time. Like, people could have just kept coming up with characters and thinking of different things, but man, they gave up pretty fast after James. I guess James really did them in. I switched back and I found you sounded too husky for my laptop. It was just like shaking. Did I watch Coachella? I thought Coachella was like a live event. I guess you could watch the stream, but no, I don't really like live music, to be honest with you. Like, I don't dislike it. Like, I like reggae. Reggae live honestly feels really good. You can feel the bass. You actually can feel the bass more, I think, live for, like, reggae, you know what I mean? But, like, all of the other type of music live, just, like, it doesn't really feel like the sounds are mixed well when it's coming, like, blasting directly to your ears, as opposed to how it's, like, professionally mixed in a studio for a, you know, streaming file or whatever. I thought you were at Coachella. Who did I listen to telling me for 5 hours of horror stories in a dark tent in a field then? I don't know. Probably Mr. Creepy Porster. Do you guys know anyone that went? Was Coachella like an important event or something? Was the Pope there? Yo, man. Yo, what's good, man? We at Coachella. Speaking the same voices, who else was annoyed with the movie The Polar Express? Tom Hanks. Oh, wait, did he do multiple characters but do the same voice for them or something? I want the herb tonight. There was some good performances. Didn't care for the lineup, but the bands and artists did alright. The crowds are always lame, though. Oh, you went to it? That's cool. What were the crowds like? The crowds were just like too high, like high as shit or something. Wait, the Pope died at Coachella? He went there and died. Do you think honestly, that's a good question. Do you think J.D. Vance had something, maybe like a poison dart in his hand when he shook the Pope's hand? Or maybe he has sort of like a back claw, like a platypus. You know how platypus have a back claw that they can poison you with? And they've killed probably thousands of people at this point. Do you think J.D. Vance is part platypus? Had some sort of experiments done on him that have altered his biological capabilities? He did a confession session with the Pope, and the Pope died. That's crazy. He's like, so Peter Thiel, so the same guy that has bankrolled the AI that Elon Musk is feeding all of our, consumer data and healthcare information directly into, is also just so happens to be the venture capitalist that's bankrolled my vice presidency. Isn't that odd or strange or weird at all? And the Pope's like, I don't feel like dealing with this shit. Need a rant. There's no rant. I just need to know that we're all being tricked. Thoughts on the Oscars? Honestly, this year, if someone doesn't get hit with a hammer over the head with spikes on it, like, I don't really care. Like, next year I'm probably not watching the Super Bowl halftime show at all unless somebody like blows themselves up with a shotgun on stage. I feel like that's kind of like what we deserve at this point. Otherwise, how are you supposed to keep my attention? What they needed to do with Kendrick, K. Lamar, was have him singing his songs, very powerful message, yada yada, but then you got Subway Surfers in the background playing on the screens. Fucking 4K HD. Otherwise, like, what the fuck am I looking at? Like, I can't pay attention to this shit. I need something to stare at. I need indie, like, fast-paced indie games as B-roll footage. We need slime videos. It's like dripping slime. Like fail army playing in the background. What's up, guys? It's the Super Bowl halftime show brought to you by Fail Army. Butthole surfers. No, crime girl, go look up Subway Surfer right now and understand that in the future, all future theater releases will have that running along the edges of the screen if you bring your kids to a movie. He called back that night saying he was busy with research, then asked if it could wait till the weekend. I told him sure, but that if he wasn't true to his word, I'd be considering eviction. A little harsh maybe, but I had other tenants to think about. So that weekend I finally got access to 2B after almost 2 weeks of trying. Then, what I saw once I got inside damn near put my jaw on the floor. James opened up, looking like he hadn't slept in days. His eyes were all bloodshot, his hair was greasy, and the shirt that he was wearing was stained with God knows what. Then the second he welcomed me inside, I caught the smell. The place reeked, like a mix of bleach and something rotten. Then when I saw the kitchen, I realized what the source was. His kitchen barely even looked like a kitchen anymore. James had turned it into a goddamn home laboratory. There were like glass beakers and test tubes and several Bunsen burners, as well as dozens of bottles containing liquids with names that I couldn't even imagine pronouncing. There were all kinds of wires running around the counter, all hooked to some buzzing machine that looked more like something from a sci-fi flick than a harmless high school chemistry experiment. And I asked James what the hell I was looking at. And after politely telling me not to touch anything, he said it was his research. I thought it might have been drugs, like he was making them in his apartment, but he swore what he was doing wasn't illegal, and that he was happy to have the cops come over to inspect his work. Legal or not, it was still causing trouble for people upstairs, and having smelled it myself, I understood why everybody was distressed. In fact, I could tell the fumes were drifting up from his kitchen window, which he kept cracking to vent the stink. I told him flat out that he had to stop what he was doing, that he was annoying his fellow tenants, and that if he didn't stop by the end of the month, he was gone. James nodded, then mumbled something about how he'd scale back. I thought that might be the end of it, but boy howdy, was I wrong. Less than a week later, Maria called again, and that time, she sounded like she was almost in tears. She told me the smell was back and that it was worse than ever, and how it smelled like something was dying down there. I remember sighing as I rubbed my temples from the stress and realized that Favorite pizza chain? My favorite pizza chain, I guess, would be... I don't know. It's got to be something local, honestly. Like, I did eat a lot of Pizza Hut in my day for the stuffed crust. But at the end of the day, there's really nothing that compares to, like, freshly made pizza at somewhere locally. Papa Squirties. Yeah, I love Papa Squirties. It's my favorite. But I mean, just the idea of, like, how Pizza Hut pizza is made is just gross to me. It's like these pre-made doughs, right, that are presumably freeze-dried and then thawed. And then they take a scoop of fucking disgusting oil that they've squeezed out of, like, some teenager's pimples and then smear it all over the top, sauce, goss, schmosh, labosh, and then they probably put some degree of dick cheese in there for the stuffed crust, and like Bob's your uncle. But I don't know. It's just gross. Pizza Hut is frozen dough. Yeah, I'm not surprised. But then when you go to an actual restaurant, you see, like, it seems, you know what I mean? Like, you can just, like, see a pizza that's, like, made there that day. It has a certain DIY nature to it. Whereas, you know, Pizza Hut pizza kind of looks like you're looking at, like, a plastic surgery gone wrong. I mean, you're still going to eat it, right? You're not going to be proud of it. You're not going to feel like you have some connection to a community when you shovel that shit into your face. A Papa Gino's? What's that? Yum Corp is greedy and gross. They own Pizza Hut, Taco Bell, KFC. Tell me more, Holly. I want to hear more about Yum Corp. That, like, actually sounds like a dystopian future, like, corporation. They make just gross food. Everyone else is trying to, like, pay rent or mortgage or any sort of, like, something of value. And meanwhile, we have Yum Corp selling us overpriced pizza and pink slime. Bloaty's Pizza Hog. That sounds nice. I used to work for Pizza Hut, and it's not how you think it goes. Can you fill us in on what it is? Is it actually good? Quick Rip Pizza was an ungodly amount of banana pepper. It was my guilty pleasure. Oh, that sounds pretty good. What's Quick? Quick Rip. Quick Grip. Yes, the dough comes frozen, but it does go in a proofer. What's a proofer? Just like puffs it all out or some shit? I guess if the dough is like immediately frozen, it wouldn't be too hard to transfer back into normal human food. Pizza these nuts. We should do a song like Chills and Corpse, but it's about Pizza Hut. Oh, a gas station pizza, yeah. Honestly, yeah, I mean, any sort of pizza is really great. I will put it in my mouth, I don't care. But I'm not going to be happy about it every time. Papa Murphy's taste the best because of how you cook. You can make the difference. Whatever they put in it gives me the shits. Might be the excess amount of oils and slime. Have you guys eaten at Rat Pizza? Oh, I do remember Chuck E. Cheese pizza was actually good. I remember being like 4 years old and trying it, and I was like, this beats out any fucking like Tony Soprano bullshit out of New York. I remember sighing as I rubbed my temples and then told her that I was done playing, and that I had served James eviction papers by the end of the month. And she sounded relieved, incredibly relieved actually, but less than an hour later, she called me a second time. I remember thinking, Christ, what is it now? His meth office has exploded? But when I did, that wary frustration transformed into another emotion entirely. I answered Maria's call, and I was halfway to putting on the most polite and patient tone of voice I could possibly muster, when Maria started yelling down the line at me. She was saying crazy stuff like, James is up there screaming now like he's hurt. I've already called 911, but I figured I should let you know. I immediately got this sick feeling in my stomach, like something terrible was about to happen, so I jumped in my car and drove over to the apartment building. By the time I got there, cop cars and an ambulance were already clogging up the street, and neighbors were out on the sidewalk gossiping and kind of craning their necks as they tried to get an idea of what the hell was going on. I remember now. I remember there's a conspiracy that why would use old pizzas to form new whole pizzas? What about full-grown pizzas? Oh, that'd be a good pizza place, full-grown pizza. Never mind, don't use that name. That'd be a bad name. Chuck E. Cheese has slices from uneaten pizza from other customers rearranged for the next table. That's probably why it tasted so good. I got a little, it's like sharing a coffee mug with the last person that was at Denny's, and their lipstick is still on it. A kiss with a stranger. Last night I ordered a pizza by myself and ate it over the sink like a rat. If you don't get the quote, I'm disappointed. Last night I ordered a pizza by myself and ate it over the sink like a rat. Is that Saving Private Ryan? Having your magnesium? Nice, I won't be far behind you. Oh, The Office, yeah, it did sound familiar. Who said that quote, though? Magnesium stuffed crust. I remember pushing through the crowd before coming face to face with a cop who looked far too young for the job. I said I was the owner of the building and that I had proof in my car if he needed to see it. He told me he couldn't share anything right then, and that if I waited outside, they'd come talk to me first chance they got. It was frustrating, not being allowed into my own goddamn property. Then, maybe a minute or two later, I saw Maria among the crowd. She rushed up to me and thanked me for showing up, and then told me the cops had smashed their way into James's apartment, but wouldn't tell her what they found. I stayed outside for maybe another half hour or so, reassuring the rest of my tenants that they'd be allowed back into the building once the cops had made sure that it was safe. After that, I spoke to that same young-looking cop who told me to expect a phone call in the next few hours, and after that, I drove home. The young cop was right, and at around 8 Eepy. I'm Eepsters. Eepy on Easter. And at around through, as if though through. The young cop was right, and at around 8 that evening, I got a call from a detective about what happened to James. I figured that he'd been taken to the hospital, but to my shock, the detectives told me James was dead. And that changed the whole situation for me right there, and I suddenly went from angry and confused to feeling terrible for him and any family he might have. Once the shock had worn off a little, the detective started asking me all kinds of questions. Things like, when did I last see James? What was he doing? And was there anything weird about him the last time I saw him? And I told them everything, from the lab to the smells to how he looked like he hadn't been sleeping. The detective didn't tell me much in return, only that they suspected murder and weren't entirely sure yet. I was also warned to stay away from that apartment until the cops were done with their investigation, but I didn't argue. The last thing I wanted was to walk in on whatever mess they'd found. And the days started to drag by, and the cops. Lily, thank you and welcome to the Buttersuck Cult. Same with Crime Girl, welcome, Crime Girl. It's good to see you. You now have access to bonus content. Hey, Jordan. Do you ever get nostalgic about whole groups of people who disappear from chat? Well, yeah, I was saying last time I made fun of RFK and like one of the regulars, Jade, was like upset about it and then she just stopped coming and I'm like, oh, that sucks. Because she was here like almost every stream and very nice. And then, yeah, there's like a ton of people like over the years who I just like wonder about and I'm like, What the hell happened to that person? What happened to that person? And I assume you guys have killed them, I guess, just so you get more attention from me or whatever, but I mean, that's fine. But I mean, we got to start thinking about getting our stream numbers up. If we kill everybody, the stream will always be stuck at 500 max instead of maybe getting to 1,000. RFK got to her, the worm. You wouldn't kill other guests in the stream? That's good. That's good, because that's a big rule of mine. I should honestly pin it as a pinned rule, as an expectation from everyone. Please don't kill any other guests. I have some clones cooking who should be joining soon. Okay, good. Bring them back to life. You should do a video on the disappearing members. Where are these people? Did they finally turn 11 and move on to middle school and lose interest in Joel's poop jokes? We will find out tonight in our investigative look into the Buttersock cult and its mysteries. Days dragged by and the cops still wouldn't let anyone near the apartment, so naturally, rumors started swirling. Maria told me that she heard the cops muttering about burns and stuff like that, and another one of my tenants claimed they saw guys in hazmat suits going into that apartment. I tried not to let my mind linger on it too much, but still, questions got under my skin. Namely, what the hell had James been trying to do? When the police finally cleared the scene, I went into the apartment to see what they'd left. The place had been stripped almost completely bare, and they'd taken all of James's lab gear and books. It was almost like he'd never been there to begin with, except for one thing: the bathtub. It was old, cast iron, same as every unit in that building, but after James's death, this one had burn marks on it. They were black, charred streaks, curled into the shape like someone was lying there. The burns were deep too, etched into the metal, but the rest of the bathroom was spotless. There was no smoke stains and no ash, just that terrible silhouette burned into the enamel of the tub. I thought it was stainless steel, or what did it say? Cast iron. What the fuck? What the fuck? A cast iron bathtub? How goddamn old is this fucking... Could it be cast iron and then the enamel goes over top of it? Cast iron tubs still have enamel. Okay, on the outside. That makes more sense. Sorry. I was like, what the fuck? We got no stick bathtubs before GTA 6, bro. No, we got that before GTA 6, bro. We got this fucking we got a guy killing himself with fucking chemicals before GTA 6, bro. Play Thunderstruck. Thunderstruck. Every time someone donates. Thunderstruck. How much do you think GTA 6 will cost? I don't know. I think there's been some pushback on the fact that they wanted to make it $100 million trillion. So, like, I mean, they're already doing pushback on, like, I mean, it's clear that they have a strong desire to increase, hey, Kyrie, good nighty night. It's clear they have a strong desire to increase, prices. But I think that's usually how it goes. It's almost like a negotiation tactic. They say $100, we say you're fucking nuts, and then they eventually make games on average $70, just baseline, which is honestly something I think they could get away with if you went to, you know, buy something at Walmart and it was $70 instead of 60. I could see people paying that, but like as soon as it gets to like 80 and above, people are gonna like, there's something that triggers in your brain of like, that's a lot. Now granted, I think there was a time in like the 90s whenever cartridge games, like even the old Donkey Kong back in the day, was like $80. But that didn't register in my adult brain, or my brain back then, so whatever. Is Pennsylvania a good hub for keeping away zombies, or no? No, because we have like the highest amount of like fentanyl addicts in the entire country, so like there's a really bad opiate problem throughout Pennsylvania, and it shows. Me included. Yeah, the cast iron bathtub with the enamel around the outside makes way more sense. Yeah, Philly's not so great. The burn was deep. It was old, cast iron covered in enamel, same as every unit in the building. But after James's death, this one had burn marks on it. They were black, charred streaks curled into the shape of someone lying there. The burn was deep, too, etched into the metal, but the rest of the bathroom was spotless, and there were no smoke stains and no ash. Just that terrible silhouette burned into the enamel of the tub. I stood there, staring, feeling this sort of deep unease creeping over me. And then I walked out, my hands shaking a little as I locked the door behind me. There was no way that I was renting that place out again without replacing that tub. And it cost me near $800 to replace it at the time, but I didn't care. I just wanted that gone. And the cops closed that case a few weeks later, saying that it's all just been some terrible accident. Apparently, James had been warned already about lab safety at the school that he was going to, something about volatile compounds, and they figured that he was running some rogue experiment or selling drugs or something too wild for the university, and it backfired. Then when it did, he jumped into that tub and tried to put himself out, but I guess maybe he couldn't, and so he died. I agreed that it all sounded like some horrible accident, like that kid with wings who flew up too close to the sun and got his ass burned. But a part of me doesn't see how it all adds up. I'm not some scientist, but I know fire. So how does the guy burn so bad it scars metal, but the rest of the apartment stays completely fine? And if water didn't stop it, what the hell kind of chemical fire was that? But maybe the worst thought of it all involves whatever James was chasing. I mean, what was he chasing, if even the scientists at the school he went to didn't touch it? And as the months went by, life went back to normal. I got a new tub and a new tenant there, but they didn't stay long, as no one really ever did. They would oftentimes complain about weird smells, faint and chemical, even with the place scrubbed top to bottom, and I couldn't get that smell out of the apartment no matter how hard I tried, and the same applied to my mind, too. I'd be fixing a leak or collecting rent, and that burned silhouette would flash into my head, just as clear as the day that I saw it. And I did some digging, asking around, and found a guy who knew James at that school, and he said James was obsessed with rewriting matter, something about breaking down the building blocks of life and putting them back together. And to me, that definitely sounded like he was on drugs, or maybe some mad scientist, I don't know. But not only had James believed in this, but he also claimed that he was close to cracking it too. These days, I have a whole new section added to my rental agreements all about the use of volatile or flammable chemicals within the apartment complex. Some potential tenants, while reading it though, have said things to me like, "Wow, what a weird thing to have to write into a rental agreement." And I tell them that I've seen everything in my years as a landlord, and I imagine I sometimes smile when I say it too, but I don't imagine that smile reaches my eyes at all. Because whenever someone mentions that little chemical clause, as I call it, I'm reminded of what they say about the rules and how more often than not they're written. Oh. Is James hot? Too hot. Because whenever someone mentions that little chemical clause, as I call it, I'm reminded of what they say about rules, and how more often than not, they're written in blood. Who says that about rules? No running near the pool. See the sign? It's written in blood. Yeah, the Amish are really good at killing zombies that wander onto their property. Alright, friends. I'm gonna go take my magnesium real quick, but I'll be right back. Talk amongst yourselves. You've never seen an Amish person before? Well, you'll probably smell them before you see them. Just kidding. Alright, I'll be right back. You heard about that Talk to a podcast? Well, I'm fixing to start my own Talk to a podcast. Talk to a Pradeep. Sorry, I had to do all sorts of excretions. But we're back, baby. We're back. Oh, you saw Pradeep, yeah. Like, he just looks so funny. Like, standing like a creepy cryptid. And, like, his, like, ham hocks just look so thick. I'm like, damn. Damn, boy, he's thick. The other image I've seen of him is the cursed one in your community posts. Oh, yeah. That's probably, Evil Larry in that one, I think. You never met an Amish person. Amish people are very, very nice, honestly. They're, like, super, super nice. I've even been to, like, sometimes they host, like, to raise money for their community or whatever, though. Obviously, they sell really good food, really good baked goods. But they had, I forget what it was. It was maybe at, like, a fire hall or something like that they do. It was far away from here. I don't even remember. But it was, they did a big cookout, and you could go there and just like buy. Everything's cheap that you buy from too. Like, there's really no inflation when it comes to the Amish. They just charge a quarter for fucking everything. Why don't Amish have autism? I'll be honest with you. Some of the Amish that I've talked to, not to put them down, but I wouldn't say that they don't have autism. But they are very nice people. How they cook without stoves? I don't know. I don't know what the limitations are for their electronics and that kind of thing. Honestly, like I do, you know, they do the horse and buggy thing. I know in some situations they hire somebody else to be their driver. But you know what I mean? Like, to do an outright fire, I don't know if it's like some exactly what pre-gas stove they would be. Maybe they can cook on a gas stove gas. Yeah, I guess it's like I've never seen an oven without it being a gas-powered oven before, electric-powered. I'm an idiot. I have no fucking clue. I just use maybe they have air fryers. They probably have air fryers, the Amish. That's how they got around that. They're sticking to old traditions. They have a Vortex 6000 20 quarts. And they feed their whole family just a box of deep fried cheese. They use blue fire. It's the red fire they're afraid of. Are there Amish in other countries outside the U.S.? I do believe. I feel like Germany's got to have some. Let's ask the internet. Where are other Amish peeps? Amish settlements are widespread, significant concentrations in Pennsylvania, Ohio, Indiana, and other U.S. states like Mississippi, North Carolina, Virginia. Additionally, there are Amish communities in Canada, Bolivia, Argentina, and other countries. Interesting. I remember going down to Florida, and there was like Pennsylvania Amish people down, like selling stuff in Florida. There was a little community. It was like so random. I was like, these people are Amish, and they're from Pennsylvania, and they're coincidentally at the one place I'm at in Florida. It was very odd. All right, dudes. Redacted. Have you seen that show? Is it good? They sell cinnamon rolls. The Amish around me just suck because they treated me like I was nothing when I worked in retail. Granted, my uncle used to bust the local Amish around Lebanon County. Alright, yeah, I mean, I'm not super familiar with them, but I guess I wouldn't be surprised if, like, they perceive people as, like, an outsider culture and therefore, or maybe they just come off as rude or something. I'm not even really sure. But I do see them, I guess, rarely in my existence in Kentucky. Do Amish ever get into horse and buggy collisions with each other? I don't know about with each other, but I do recall that there was like some type of laws mitigating the, essentially being the fault of the person who drives their car into their buggy. Because it is kind of like, if you've ever passed by one, you're like, what the fuck is that? I'm backwards in time. But there's still roads. But you're about to like hit a horse-drawn buggy but it's like a horse-drawn like thing for some reason, driven by like a 6-year-old kid, because for them that's like being turning into an adult. Lloyd Rash, that's a cool name. Welcome to the Buttersock Cult. I have access to bonus content. I'm a Native American. I feel like they kind of have the same tight-knit community, like that excluded the general laws, but they have their own. Yeah, for sure, all the same like problems. I mean, I don't think alcohol is as big a problem in the Amish community because it's like against their religion and whatnot, and I guess not as big a deal as like, or not as much use of drug use or whatever as well, because of the whole religion thing. But yeah, all of those like sort of closed-in communities kind of that have sort of their own rules and regulations are always going to have problems, abuse, all sorts of stuff. Alcohol in the res is, well, that's the thing, is like I think there's like some genetic there's like a genetic, not a mutation, but just like a genetic marker within like Native American heritage that alcohol doesn't necessarily like depress the body the way it would other people's like central nervous systems, but it actually like in some tribes like awakens something in them. So it almost like it's like an excitable type thing. You drink and you get real fucking wild and crazy. I worked at the Sunnyview Expo Center in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. During horse race events, a flock of Amish people would come in. Some of the women were actually hot. Nice, dude. You should have married in to the simple life. Okay, this is the last story of the night. Okay. Oh, Danny Ho, good to see you. I'm from the south side of Chicago, and I'm a landlord who keeps a few rundown buildings afloat. My pops left me 3 6-flats in Englewood. Weed, you like weed and booze. Nice, dude. That's all you need. Englewood. My pops left me 3 6-person apartments in Englewood. Still own 2 of them, and I've been wrenching pipes and chasing rent checks ever since. God damn it, I can't read now. Still own 2 of them, and I've been wrenching pipes and chasing rent checks. Jesus fuck. Still own 2 of them, and I've been wrenching pipes and cashing rent checks ever since. It's hard work, and sometimes I think that I'll end up in a padded cell one day because of it, but I'm just too damned old to do anything else by now. Most of my tenants are decent, hard-working folks just trying to make it through the month. But every once in a while you get a real closet psycho. And let me tell you, of all the ones I ever dealt with, Gerald up in apartment 4C tops that list. His name was, very cheesy people, yeah. And let me tell you, of all the ones I ever dealt with, Gerald tops that list. His name was... I don't even know how to fucking say it. Petrie? How the hell do you say this stupid name? Should we include somebody's last name? Whatever. I'm not going to include his last name. His name was Gerald, or at least that's what he put on the lease, and he moved in during the summer of '96. He was a skinny dude, he had a scruffy beard and dark eyes that just never seemed to blink. And he always wore this ratty trench coat too, even in July when the city's absolutely cooking. And I really wasn't sure about him at first, and I guess in the long run, I was right to be unsure. But he always paid his rent early, always in cash, and he used to slip that under my door very quiet-like first thing in the morning. Polygamy, LDS, and decide, bro, do Amish do that too? I don't think they do. They're like a specific sect of Christianity or something. I don't know exactly which one, but it seems to be kind of like stuck in the ways of the late 1800s, when life was perfect, when society peaked. And yeah, I think they only marry one person, but they have a shit ton of kids or something. Long jacket. But he always paid his rent early, always in cash, and he used to slip the envelope under my door, very quiet, first thing in the morning. The only downside is that every so often he'd come through the door at 3 a.m., carrying whole cases of what sounded like glass bottles. He'd go jingling all the way up the stairs, waking almost everybody up as he went, but aside from that, he was a pretty good tenant. Right up until he wasn't. Gerald had been living there for just a couple of months when the sewer line in his building crapped out. Gerald had been living there for just a couple of months when the sewer line in his building crapped out. The whole basement was a swamp of this stinking sludge, and tenants were starting to lose their minds. There was an old widow in one of the apartments who swore that her cat got sick from the smell and that if it died, she was going to sue me. And I couldn't afford a plumber till the city reimbursed me for the damages, so to keep my ass out of court, I figured that I had to snake the drains myself. I grabbed the heavy-duty drain snake that I kept at home, the kind that you actually crank by hand, along with some gloves and a bucket, and then I threw some rags and a flashlight into my car before I drove over to that. Bump, 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 bump. Feces. You should burst out and wear the Mennonite carved note. Yeah, that'd be cool. I think you'd look good in it. Now, the Mennonites are different. That's one group that I genuinely don't know much about them. But then I've seen there's variations, almost like coming across like a shiny Pokemon or something, where certain Mennonites, I swear, only wear all black or something. Maybe they have teams or tribes that I'm unaware of. but it is interesting. Then I threw some rags and a flashlight into my car before I drove over to the building. When I got there, I found the clean-out plug in the basement. When I got there, I found the bypass clean-out plug in the basement, set down a bucket to catch any mess, and then popped off the trap and started feeding that snake's cable into the pipe. I started easing it around the bends, probing for any blockage, and then there it was. I felt something kind of squishy but solid, and that was obviously blocking the pipe. I figured it was probably a combo of hair, grease, and who knows what else, so I started poking and prodding as... Something gross. A bunch of Mennonite in Lebanon and Lancaster being all goth with their attire and cars. That's funny. Septic servicing. Nice, dude. You're going to be probing. I figured it was probably a combo of hair and grease and who knows what else, so I started poking and prodding at it with the drain snake to try and dislodge it. I was pulling, pushing, twisting, and yanking, and then suddenly, pop. The mass of whatever comes unstuck. And it was mission accomplished in my mind, but it also meant a bunch of toilet water was about to come spilling out into the bucket, so I took a step back and prepared myself for the smell. All kinds of slop came splashing out, and as it did, the force dragged out the offending cloggers, so to speak, which splashed down into the bucket with this very disgusting plop. Like I said, I figured it'd be one of those hair and grease balls that I've seen so many times before, or maybe a kid had flushed their teddy bear down the toilet. Stranger things have happened to me. But when I saw it coming out of that pipe, it didn't look like any kind of hairball I'd ever seen before. With my hand covering my mouth and nose, I walked over to that big old plastic bucket and looked inside. There, floating in the water, was something I can only describe as a huge snail without a shell. It was like a big lump of slimy gray-green flesh, but when I poked at it with the head of that drain snake, it didn't move. And I thought that it might be some kind of fungus or slime mold or something like that, but like I said, I've never seen anything like it before in all my years of unblocking drains. Seeing as it was floating in a bucket full of sludge. A bucket full of sludge, just for you. Does it pay better than Amazon? Oh, what's that? Delivering? Oh, a Mucinex booger, yeah, maybe. Is Evil Larry my other cat? No, Pradeep's alternate ego is Evil Larry. Seeing as it was floating in a bucket full of sludge, it's not like I went in for a closer look. I just poured the bucket's contents into a larger sewage drain outside, flushed the pipes in the house to make sure that they were all totally unblocked, then went home and took a shower after cleaning up the basement. And I felt like Hercules after completing a task like that, but there was still the issue of the blockage and how it had gotten there. And so after a very well-earned rest, I drove back to the house to talk to my tenants. Or back to the... building. So after a well-earned rest, I drove back to talk to my tenants. It was early evening when I arrived, the best time to catch everyone at home. Everyone opened their doors and assured me that they'd been flushing. Everyone opened their doors and assured me that they hadn't been flushing anything that might have caused a blockage. all except Gerald, who I figured was out working at his night job. I didn't make a habit of entering a tenant's apartment without their express permission, but let's just say that I had a sneaking suspicion about old Gerald. See, I had exactly zero troubles with the drains of that house until Gerald moved in, and in the few months that he'd been there, I'd never seen inside his apartment. So since the whole sewer water in the basement thing constituted health violation... Damn it. Son of a gun. Can't even freaking read anymore. I earned a rest as well. Ate a pound of cheese, now I'm sweating. Blockage, tell me about it. Yeah. The non-flushable wipes, yeah, what a fool. Don't trust the asterisks. So, since the whole sewer water in the basement thing constituted a health violation, I figured that was a good as reason. God, mother, flurpin', jerpin', purple, nurple, son of a gerple. So, since the whole sewer water in the basement thing constituted a health violation, I figured that was as good a reason as any to grant myself emergency access and do a little apartment inspection. I knocked on Gerald's door for the second time just to make sure that he wasn't home. Then, when I got no answer, I used the spare key I had and let myself in. Inside, the place was like a museum of weird. That's really the best way I can put it. None of the furniture matched and everything looked really old too. Not the classy antique old, the rickety, rotten kind. There were houseplants everywhere, weird, creepy-looking paintings hung on the walls, and there were stacks of books lying around with words that looked like Latin running down the spines. I called out Gerald's name again just in case he definitely wasn't there, and then threw in something about checking his pipes too. And when I got no reply, I was 100% convinced that he was at work, so I started towards the bedroom, and that's when I saw it. The utility closet at the end of the hall, and it was padlocked shut. Now, I don't allow any locked utility doors in my apartments. If you want to keep a safe or a lockbox or something, that's your business and I'll allow it. But when it comes to utility closets, that contain... My stories never end well. Yeah, I guess that's just the nature of the spooky stories. Sometimes they're actually spooky. Nicki Minaj or Cardi B. Honestly, for the longest time, I genuinely thought that they were clones of one another. Like, Nicki Minaj came out, and then they took her DNA and made Cardi B. And it was just, we were going to keep getting upgraded versions. I think it's still possible. Do during what does a robot do during one night stand? Oh, nuts and bolts. A friend of mine told me that joke before. I don't know, it's really sad, honestly, why a robot would ever do that. When it comes to utility closets, then, oh my gosh, the containable pipes and fuse boards. When it comes to utility closets that contain things like boilers, pipes, or fuse boards, I need to access them 24/7 for safety reasons, obviously. And as I went to get my bolt cutters, I remembered that was... As I went to get my bolt cutters, I remembered that was the closet Gerald's water heater was in, and I wondered what the hell he needed to padlock it for. I snipped the lock, pushed the door open, then the second I looked inside, my stomach did a flip. Up and down the walls above the Okuyasu Nijimura with the $2 says, now that's timing. Hell yeah, dude. Don't worry, ladies, you leave the jokes to us. We'll make you giggle. Hey, Swampy boy, love you too, bro. What are you doing? What are you working on? Any big news? Any new things? Any new drama updates on Cyrax, the destroyer. Dr. Bitchcraft, what's up, dude? Could use some bolt cutters. Honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing what it feels like to cut a bolt with them, if it's like really clean and easy, or if it takes some oomph. Daily updates in Cyrax as always. That's awesome. Does that get exhausting, or I guess it's just additional money all the time? That's crazy. I mean, it's not crazy, but it's wild for me to think that there's like an audience that just wants to hear about him. I mean, I didn't even take the time to go look at him. I really should, because now I'm really interested, but I guess I'd have a lot to catch up on like we talked about before. But it's just interesting, like people like looking at it every day to like want to know what's going on with the dude. But you're almost, dude, it's kind of interesting actually. You're kind of like a vlogger, but for him, which is cool. It's like Daddy of 5, but you're the daddy, and it's just him. Having my first baby, you gotta make sure the kid falls asleep to Joel instead of lullabies. Hell yes, my friend. Thank you. That would be sick. I cover a lot of law cows on that channel, and Cyrex definitely main cow. Yeah, anybody else law cowling at all? Swamp, we were talking about the iDubbbz thing. What was your thoughts on the iDubbbz content cop thing? Quite silly, I'd say. Time of Spooky Stories is done, to be honest. Well, I mean, there's always the possibility of starting like another channel that has like a fresh algorithm and whatnot, you know what I mean? So like if you still wanted to exist in that foray and make maybe like more on-screen content, kind of like Wendigoon or somebody like that, I definitely think you could pull that off, honestly. It would just have to be like finding, I mean, if you think about like how people kind of like get their start, it really comes down to just like finding a topic that like hasn't been touched too much but is trending at that moment, so you get algorithmic like, you know, preference. So I think for Wendigoon, one of his big things was the whole iceberg thing, right? That was like sort of a trend. Obviously the True Scary Stories trend has passed. But there's like, I feel like there's always ways to pop off, you know, but you just kind of need a new start sometimes. I don't think Open care about my narration anymore, people care. Well, it's just tough. It's just tough to like maintain an audience, like, you know, because I mean, most of the views, like one of my best videos, I mean, almost like 90% of the views or whatever come from like suggested shit. You wear the Let's Read hoodie regularly. Thank you. Appreciate that. Have you met any other fans out in the wild? Chris Chan is the OG. He is the G. The Sonichu master. I get more support on my second channel. That's what it is. I'm not salty about it. A good 8 years. Yeah, and I mean, like, if it's exhausting putting out the content, it's not, you know, on the Swamp Dweller channel, and it's not getting, like, making the, you know, if the money's not worth the effort and you're getting more on the other channel, it's like, might as well shift focus there. That's just that's just business, you know what I mean? Like if you ran an unsuccessful gym, but then for some reason your banana hut starts going, you know, popping off, you might as well shut the gym down and take your losses and head over to Banana Town. Up and down the walls above the water heater, Gerald had installed a series of shelves, and lining them were a series of glass jars. They were filled with murky-looking water, and in each one, something was floating. From where I was stood, it didn't look like pickles or peaches or anything like that. It was something organic, sure, but it looked more like chunks of something familiar. And that's when it hit me. They were the exact same things as what had plopped out of that pipe in the basement. And not even a second later, I heard a floorboard creak behind me. I spun around, and there was Gerald, standing in the doorway, trench coat hanging over one arm. And he asked me, "What are you doing?" And I told him about the drains, about the blockage, and then asked what the hell was in those jars. Gerald just looked at me for a second and smiled. Then, in a tone so eerie that I remember it clear as crystal, even all these years later, he told me, "They're my friends." Like he was talking about pet dogs or something. I told him to stop playing with me, and asked him again what the hell he blocked my drains with. Gerald just kept smiling like he knew a dirty secret about me, and then said, "You shouldn't be here." And he was right. I had no right to be in there, not unless it was an actual emergency. But since I knew that it must have been him that was responsible for blocking the drains somehow, and since he had no right to be locking his utility closet like that, I gave him a little talking to before I booked it out of there. Now, back in my truck, I called my cousin Nicky. See, he's a cop, and I told him about the freaky stuff that I saw in Gerald's apartment. How I thought that it was probably drug-related or something like that. But he said unless Gerald was either cooking meth or skinning people alive in there, there wasn't much that the police department could do. Now, before he hung up, he told me to just serve an eviction notice and get him gone legally. So that's what I did. I typed up a 30-day notice that night, citing lease violations, unauthorized modifications, health hazards, whatever the hell I could throw to make it stick. And then the next morning, I slid it under Gerald's door before I lost my nerve. Oh. I thought he lost his nerve. His nerve has been lost. I was inspired by Let's Read. Got to be his peer. It's a dream. I have no regrets. Oh, thank you, dude. Do you have peers in that, space of, lolcow content? Are there, people within that realm that, you look at and you're like, holy shit, they're popping off, I guess, in the... I mean, honestly, I could see you leveraging it to other, things you could cover, whole other channels with, because, I mean, that's... If you see those channels, those daily commentary channels, really do... I mean, I guess they call them slop content. I'm not saying it's slop, but, I mean, those slop content channels do really well if you give, colorful commentary that confirms people's biases. Why do I randomly stop reading? Oh, I'm recording the stories and then I'm chatting with chat. So the goal isn't to just keep the continuous reading as I'll be editing it together later. The goal is just to record it. No, not really. Just wanted to show you my appreciation. You really were the biggest inspiration I had. Most others were really rude to me when I was started. Oh, well, thank you, Swampy. I appreciate that, man. You're awesome. Are you, is your band still touring right now? Or are you kind of on the off season? I forget. I remember you were kind of talking about that before. Touring all summer and fall. Okay, that'll be sick. I feel like that's got to get exhausting, though. I mean, do you feel like you can keep up with your content creation on the road? Or is that kind of difficult to do? Joel Brogan experience with RFK Joeler as the guest. He reads some of the record button pressed, stops and addresses chat. Repeat, yes.
Thanks for letting her know. Appreciate that.
Then, the next morning, I slid it under Gerald's door before I lost my nerve. And he didn't fight it. He didn't even try and talk to me about it. He stayed quiet, but his neighbors didn't. The old woman said that she'd heard weird noises coming from that apartment at night. And then a friend, Jamal, in 3A, mentioned seeing Gerald carrying a jar down the fire escape at night, And then an old friend, Jamal, in 3A, mentioned seeing Gerald carrying a jar down the fire escape at night, cradling it like it was a real precious thing to him. And I told them everything would be fine. That Gerald was leaving soon, but I have to admit, it definitely creeped me out too. The day before his 30 days were up, I got a call from that old lady saying the hallway outside Gerald's apartment stank to high heaven. And not only that, but she'd heard him screaming and crying in the middle of the night. I drove over right away, and the stench inside Gerald's apartment was unbearable, but it didn't take long to figure out where the smell was coming from. And by the looks of things, he was long gone. There was no note, but all of his stuff was missing. Everything except a single jar, which laid smashed on the kitchen floor, with a puddle of what smelled like liquid death surrounding it. The smell was so bad that it stung my eyes. I gagged, covering my mouth with my sleeve, and then turned around and walked out again. I eventually called a hazmat crew, thinking that it must have been some kind of biohazard, and that cost me a solid $1,000 that I didn't have, but they cleaned it up, and they didn't ask any questions either. I figured that was the end of it. Gerald was gone, the unit was empty, and I could just re-rent it once the smell aired out. But that stench stuck around, kind of sharp, acidic, and rotten, like it had seeped into the walls and floorboards. Tenants started moving out. Mrs. Jenkins said, I guess I referred to her as old lady before. I have to probably keep calling her old lady. Yeah, not really. To show you. Claudette Bruyere, welcome to the Butterstock Call. Thank you so much. You have access to bonus content now. Thank you. It's hard because lolcows always do stuff daily, but my setup is fairly easy to bring on the road, so I'll see how it goes this summer. Okay, that'll be sick. Won't promote my band in Let's Free Chat unless he says it's cool. Yeah, no, that's cool. I mean, you says it's in the... Well, I don't want to say where you're from or whatever if you don't want to say either, but yeah, feel free to say where you're going to be touring or anything, you know? That'd be sick. You ever thought about using a VTuber model? I thought about it, I guess. I don't know what that would look like, and it's always kind of weird to me. I don't really understand why VTubing is somehow more connective to an audience. Like, I don't get it. Like, why sit there and make this elaborate, rigged up, you know, mascot of yourself when you could just do your voice anyways? Because that's all it is just your voice and connecting. I don't really know why someone would even... Yeah, the visual element. I mean, that makes sense, yeah. I guess so. Maybe they feel like slightly connected to whatever like animu character is in front of them. But I feel like I feel more connected to just a voice, a disembodied voice, since that's kind of like what radio has been like for personalities forever, you know what I mean? It's for the incels. Oh, like, I would have to make mine like real horny, like. Mrs. Jenkins said, what am I doing? The old lady said that she saw something in her bathtub one night, pale and wriggling, gone when she turned on the light, and I told her it was just her imagination, but Jamal said that he caught his kid staring at that drain up there, and when he asked what he was doing, he also said that he saw something. I comped them a month's rent just to reassure them that everything was fine, but they eventually moved out anyway not long after. And by the summer, the building was half empty and I was hemorrhaging money. I hired a priest from St. Sabina's to bless the place, figuring that it couldn't hurt to get a little positive PR going. And he walked through that area, sprinkled holy water, but it didn't help. I was stuck for a while. I couldn't rent it, but I couldn't afford to lose that building either, and it got to the point that I thought about burning the place down just to collect on the insurance. But knowing my luck, I'd have been caught right away. In the end, I was forced to sell, and I lost a ton of money on the sale too because the folks kept... Listen to the voice. Burn Absolute is your band's name. That's cool. You You thought I was an astronaut? What? What do you mean? What do you mean? Wrecked X, what's up, dude? Good to see you. Could make my model be Wendy. I mean, that would be kind of cool too. I guess I would want to stick to my like astronaut thing. Maybe give it like huge tits or whatever. And whenever I get excited, I can jump up and down. Omar, what's up, dude? Play some Burn Absolute on the outro and remember friends. That'd be cool. Can we listen to some of your music, Swamp, if you're still here? Will it get copywritten, stricken down? In the end, I was forced to sell, and I lost a lot of money on the sale too because the folks buying knew that they'd have to tear the place down and start again. They kept asking what the cause... Damn. They kept asking what caused the smell, but all I could tell them was the truth. I didn't know. And I wish I did, or I wish I had, because that way I'd have thrown Gerald out on his ass the second I saw those jars in his utility closet. Because whatever was in them, if they had gotten out, or if whatever that was growing inside of that building, there's no getting rid of it. Now. There's no getting rid of them. Oh no. Jesus. There's no getting rid of it. Now. Alright. I thought you were a skeleton encased in an astronaut suit. Yeah, that's what that is. Yeah. Did someone say an alternative to that or something? Alright, dudes. I guess Swampy bounced out, no worries. But we're gonna read the outro here and we'll get you guys on your way. What's the lore of the skeleton? I mean, as far as I know, I lost my face in a freak exfoliation accident. Actually, the lore, like in totality, comes from my Thanks a Millie video. Do you want me to link you that? From my 1 million subscribers. Toronto. Yeah, if you search that up, you can watch it on like Let's Read Clips. Any plans for the tweekend? Yeah, probably some sick ass shit going down. It's gonna be crazy. Comedy is bad. That would be pretty good. All right. Yeah, let's do the outro. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Click that notification bell to be alerted of all future Fuck. How does my voice crack now, out of all times? Hey friends, thanks for listening. Click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. I release new videos every Monday and Thursday at 9 p.m. EST, and there are super fun live streams every Sunday. Dude, I'm like seeing shit. And there are super fun live streams on... God damn it. And there are super fun live streams every Sunday and Wednesday nights. If you got a story, be sure to submit them over at my email, letsreadsubmissions@gmail.com, and maybe even hear your story featured on the next video. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations and bonus content over on Patreon, or click that big join button to hear about the extra perks for members of the channel. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all of these stories and big compilations located anywhere you listen to podcasts. All links in the description below. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, I don't know where it's at. Chicken Jackie. Where's it at? Oh, there. Remember? Oh, there we go. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, comedy is all about timing, ladies. The brain named itself. That is, if you feel that the brain is the origins of consciousness, then perhaps that is the case. But if it's not, good night, princesses, princes and princesses. Good night, my kingdom. Guys, thanks so much for chilling. Appreciate you. Love you. I will see you in the next stream, which will be, what day is it now? It's Wednesday? I guess I'll be back streaming on Sunday night. But yeah, follow my Twitch up there. I guess we didn't even check that. Did we have anybody over on our... Does the link even work? I had a total of 1 person over there, Cheeky Gray. Posted a picture of their wiener. That's exciting. Alright, anyways, I'll get this up on Patreon. It's only $1 a month over there for early access. Then I'll get the YouTube video up same time, same place tomorrow, or today rather, Thursday at 9 p.m. EST. Go check out the Let's Read podcast. Follow me on Instagram at letsread.official. I hope you guys have a great night's sleep wherever you are in the world. And I will see you again soon. Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye.